What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 10 of the Let's Talk Nerdy podcast. Today, we have a special guest and a good buddy of ours, TheBlooMagoo, or Sam. And today, we're going to be talking Palworld, Witchfire, Wayfinders, Space Marine 2, and some games that we think flopped and others that are gems, too.
To the extreme, I'll rock out the mic like a vandal, light up a stage and wax a chump like a candle.
I shouldn't even try anymore. I have no idea.
If I'm not back in 5 minutes, just wait longer.
You are now tuned in to the Let's Talk Nerdy podcast.
I love it when you talk nerdy to me.
Blue, drop him. Hit him with the knowledge. Where is that from?
Dude, it's Ice Ice Baby Vanilla Ice.
Oh,
Ice
goodness.
Baby, love vanilla
Wait,
ice.
says-
You know I had to go that
That
route.
was the song that Bam, you thought Bam wasn't gonna get?
I didn't get it.
Yeah. No, I thought he was going to get it for... I thought I was throwing him a
I
bone.
thought-
Dude,
yeah,
I'm terrible at the
Bam.
bones. I'm terrible at the bones, man. I'm sorry. I'm not very good at this. I listen to music, but I don't like listen to the lyrics unless I actually listen to it. Like, I don't know. I'm just terrible at this.
Fun fact, our good buddy Blue knows this song front to back, word for word.
It's my,
That's pretty cool.
It's amazing to watch him
it's
perform.
my special
pretty
hidden
cool.
talent. It's my secret power.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. That's kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
I thought I was throwing you a bone,
Yeah,
man.
you
I thought
did.
I was throwing you a
You
bone.
did. That's the second bone you've thrown
It is
me.
okay.
And I just haven't gotten
I mean...
it. But
Next week I'm just hitting you with the Eminem and you're gonna
I'm
get
just gonna
it.
say
Dude. You are
Eminem.
gonna
I gotta
get
keep
it.
saying that every week.
Just say Eminem and you're gonna get
And then I'm gonna say it wrong. I'm gonna say Eminem or something like that. But Blue, welcome to Let's Talk Nerdy podcast. We're super excited to have you on. Super excited to have you.
Super excited, man. You are our very first
Dude,
guest.
thank you so much for having me. I'm stoked to be here. Very stoked.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah,
honored.
man.
So
Yeah, man. So, real quick, got a couple questions just so the listeners can get to know you a little
sure.
bit. How long have you been gaming for? Ballpark it.
Man, how long have I been gaming for? I mean, consciously, I could probably like maybe go back to like the second or third grade, maybe even earlier than that.
Right.
Like when I was like
long
6,
time.
7, 8 with a Game Boy Color. So, oh yeah.
That's the way to go. That's the way to go. And just a few of your favorite games. What do you just toss out a couple titles you really enjoy playing, just so they can get like a feel of what type of gamer you are.
I mean, I play a little bit of everything. Grew up a huge Pokemon fan, which I know we're going to talk a little bit about later. Monster Hunter, one of my all-time favorite franchises. Beautiful
I
game.
love watching you play Monster Hunter, dude. I don't know what it is about that game, but just watching you play that game is so
Dude,
fun.
it's very special, super like near and dear to my heart. Monster Hunter, do a little Dark Souls. I love like real-time strategy games. I was really into StarCraft for a while. Call of Duty. I think I've played almost every single like Call of Duty that's released. Yeah, just a little bit of everything. Shooters, strategy games, role-playing games. Yeah.
kind of all of it.
Ladies
all
and
over the
gentlemen,
place.
he dips his toes in a lot of pools.
Yeah.
That's all right. That's all right.
So, but yeah, that's cool. I think your love for Pokemon, I think we should just get right into it. Oh, real quick. I do just want to say one thing. We're going to skip, do we have any comments this week? But I do just have one comment that I want to throw out there real quick. And I'm not sure if this is one of those like, fake names where they just want me to read the name and sound stupid, but if it's not, I'm sorry that I said that. This comment is from Pat Shaver. I think that's a real name. If I feel like it's a real name. And he just wrote, first time watching your guys' videos, awesome content. So I just wanted to throw a quick shout out to Pat. We see you, buddy. Thank you. Thanks for checking out the content. Super appreciate it. Okay. Let's get into this stuff because we got a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do. First one gonna be
Adam,
Palworld. And we have a lot to talk about with Palworld. Biggest thing is, how are they getting away with this? Is the big question I have with this game.
Let's pull up the trailer.
Let's
Pull up the trailer so people can get a quick look at what we're talking about. If you do not know about this game, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Pokemon with guns.
As everybody's
it's
calling
amazing.
it that.
It's amazing.
Yeah. If I can, wow, I'm failing on the trailers today. Can you guys see that? There we go.
Adam took back over on the trailers. Just in case you guys wanted to know, this is Adam's fault.
Here we go.
There we
It's
go.
popping up here.
Nice. All right, let's take a look
Like
at this
just
bad
from
boy.
the beginning, like
I mean, okay.
They're Pokemon. They're Pokemon.
they are
Yeah.
Pokemon.
They are legitimately Pokemon. Guys, if you're just listening on Spotify, what we're kind of seeing here is this very Pokemon-esque world and character set. The only difference is like these guys have rocket launchers and AKs and like
And you just notice that there's kind of like it looked like a Fortnite parachute drop, like a glider. You guys notice that too?
I feel like they stole a lot
Yeah.
from Zelda. If I'm gonna be honest, I see a lot of
Like a
Zelda
bunch of
vibes
Zelda
EVs
glider.
there.
That's what I
Yeah.
meant. Yeah.
Yeah. And character design,
my
there's
Look,
a
it's
lot of
Lati-
like
it's
very
Latios from Pokemon right there.
yeah, some like very we talk about this all the time, right? So like Marvel and DC kind of have their copycat characters, and I feel like that's kind of what this game went for, was to like grab their copycat versions of Pokemon. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
The biggest thing though for Nintendo has sued for less, to be honest. And honestly, like to me this game looks really cool, and like I'm gonna get this game just for the sole fact that it is Pokemon with guns, and I just go around blasting people and ride on some Pokemon and start shooting stuff. But that's my biggest question, is like, how are they gonna truly get away with this kind of game?
So I kind of had the same initial thoughts when I first saw this, where I was like, whoa. I mean, especially when you look at some of the IP, like that Eevee, that blue looking Eevee. If anyone knows what Eevee is, it's that kind of fox cute dog looking, Pokemon creature thing that they had there. I mean, there's some insane similarities. So my initial thought was kind of along the same lines, like, whoa, like someone's about to get sued. But I quickly just dove into all that. And I mean, interestingly enough, I know you mentioned that thing about Nintendo, but the Pokemon Company and Game Freak are usually very lax when it comes to their IP, especially because it's so strong and has such a dedicated fan base. I don't think they're remotely worried. And number two, I think a lot of lawsuits that have been floating around in the video game industry when it comes to like copycats or like stealing ideas from other games, they're usually not very successful. I know, like off the top of my head, one of the biggest ones was when PUBG sued Fortnite for the concept of a battle royale.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And like it was
Yeah.
a big deal. It was a big deal in the news, and then out of nowhere, just the lawsuit just got dropped because
Yeah, I mean,
it's an idea.
Right.
right. That's kind of where I was going with it too. Is like, yes, like you can like if you were to take actual Pokemon characters and put them in this game, you could very easily sue for likenesses. But can you sue on like the idea of a gameplay mechanic? I don't know how strong of a case that is. And I personally think they're going to get away with it just fine.
Yeah. I just think I think there's likeness enough, in my opinion, that they could, if they really wanted to, chase it. I don't think the mechanics of the game, but especially like the ball they throw, it's like it's so Pokemon-esque. I think that, I don't know. That's kind of where I think they could sue if they really wanted to, but like Blue said, are they going to? I don't know.
I just don't think they'd care enough. And the other thing too, I mean, there's already plenty of like Pokemon copycats. I know one of the biggest ones right now is Temtem. Temtem probably is the
true.
most like prominent at the moment. And I know they're doing just fine. The other thing too is Pokemon's also just straight up, and maybe someone could correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe there are like lawsuits like that are just not as public, but I don't know if you guys like know about like Pokemon mods. Like there's Pokemon Emerald Kaizo. If you're familiar with that at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Okay.
it's like an extra super hard version of Pokemon Emerald that's like fan made for fans, like because it's for like Nuzlocke and to create a more challenging experience. I mean, they haven't dealt with anything, so I 100% agree with you though, Adam. It's like that; those are Pokemon. Like they look like Pokemon,
Right.
But I don't think anything's gonna happen. But they're Pokemon.
Yeah, and like Blue said, I mean, the Pokemon brand itself is just like, it's so strong.
Right.
Like I don't feel like they would ever kind of be in a position where they're like, oh no, we're nervous about this Palworld. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like it's not going to put a dent in the Pokemon kind of, reputation, you know what I mean? Like they just don't, I don't feel like it was something that they would be worried about.
Right.
But the resemblances are striking. So
Yeah.
guys, like, if you don't know anything about this game, basically what they've done, and I like this idea from them, is they basically replaced the main character with this like kind of hot looking like she's like a kind of hot looking chick, and I think that was an amazing move by them to replace the main character with kind of a hot chick.
Or is it
Game
are
of
you
the
gonna be
year,
able to
right
customize
there.
this character though? Is it going to be a custom
Game of the year.
character you get to pick though?
I mean, you get from everything that I've seen, you basically get these like preset kind of chicks, but like you can modify like their clothing and stuff like that. But like, it's much more of like, you know, like an Overwatch or something like that. I think is where you're just kind of picking characters and then going
Gotcha.
with it, right?
Gotcha.
Have you guys seen? I don't know if you guys like. Have you guys? Was this your first taste of Palworld, by the way?
I saw
100%.
it earlier, but I thought it was like a meme or like people just like fan made. I didn't think it was gonna blow up to something actually being a game. Like I've seen something in the past, but at the showcase, that's where it's like
Right.
this is a real game. So
If you guys like, so I don't know. You don't need to pull it up now, but maybe I'll just send it to you guys. But you guys should look at that trailer compared to 2 years ago, the Palworld announcement trailer.
okay,
Drastically different.
Like it looks. I mean, first of all, I think this. I think it looks good. I think it looks better than anything Pokemon's put out there. Graphically, like in visually, it just the environments look so much more like vast, and it looks prettier than anything I've seen Pokemon do.
You're gonna get so many
I don't-
comments, dude. I'm so ready. For
I don't
this.
think so. I don't
Honestly-
think so. I think there's a lot of Pokemon fans that are disappointed with what they've been getting. I think
I was
there's
say
plenty
definitely
of
with
Pokemon fans.
the new one, right? Wasn't there Violet and what is it? Scarlet
Yeah.
is the other one.
And that's not
They
to say
like
it didn't ruin the game, but yeah, there's a ton of
Right.
fans that were like, "This looks like shit."
yeah, especially at drop. Wasn't like, I mean, a lot of games have bugs, but wasn't this release of Pokemon like everybody was angry with how many bugs this one had?
Yeah, it was just super buggy, like right on release.
Although, so kind of going back to the sued thing, I think if it truly was going to be sued, I'm just kind of like taking back my thought is they wouldn't have made it as far as it has in terms of like going to the showcase and stuff like that. So now that I think about it more, I don't think it is a game that's going to be taken down at any point.
No, I'm
No,
sure.
I don't think so.
Yeah, and
either.
if anything, I'm sure they'll use any controversy to their advantage. I mean, it just brings
Right.
attention, and people are gonna know about it.
Yeah. So is this a game
Yeah,
that you're
so-
going to be getting?
Go ahead, Blue.
I would
Go
say,
ahead.
yeah, like I'm definitely interested because it just looks goofy and stupid and fun, and I love truly, I love a lot of the way like from that trailer, the way the creatures look. They look like they would belong in like those first like 3 to 5 or 6 generations of Pokemon. Like they look like legit like creatures that I would believe Pokemon would put out. So I think the quality is there for like, creature design. I think the world design looks really, really pretty, especially if you compare it to its announcement trailer. Clearly they have been putting a lot of work into it. And, who knows? I don't know. I have no clue what the gameplay is going to look like, what you can do in it, but it looks interesting for sure. And I'd definitely be curious. Like if there's I would try it out. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think it is going to be a game that I will end up buying. It's going to be one of those things. Am I going to buy it on release or am I going to wait till it goes on sale? It's kind of be the question. Once I learn more about it is when I'll make my final decision. So,
I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
here we go.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, guys, like we said, they've taken the main character, they've replaced it with a female character. A little bit more about the game. Now, you are going to be collecting these quote unquote pals, in the same instance as you would be collecting Pokemon. So the ball mechanic, throwing the ball, all that stuff rings true. A positive on this game is I do think that capturing these pals is going to be a lot more fun than capturing the Pokemon, because they did implement these gun mechanics. So you actually have to kind of like fight with this thing a little bit, instead of like Pokemon, you just throw a berry and then you're like, all right, I'm going to get them. You know what I mean? So like I do think that that's a positive. One big question about this game that I know Pokemon fans in general are kind of wondering is like, are they going to go so far to copy it to the point where these pals have evolutions? So I know that like that's a big thing. What do you got? Do you think they're going to go that far? Like are these pals going to be able to evolve? Like, are you going to be able to like, you know, like do the breed thing? Like where do you, how in depth do you think that you can get with these with
Zach
these pals?
really wants to know
first,
if you
Blue.
can breed with them. So
Yeah, that's.
I
the
really want to
question.
know if they can breed.
it's the most important question.
Yeah,
Can you breed them?
just want to build my own
he
pal
wants his little
family,
babies.
guys.
He wants his little baby pals. So
I mean, do you guys think they're going to go that far?
I think if they were going to, they would have shown it a little bit more. I think it's definitely a possibility, but more so like, I don't know. I don't think they will.
It's a really good question, because yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I just realized they haven't, unless like there's like footage or gameplay like that's already been shown that I haven't looked into. Nothing shows that like you can evolve anything, right? And that's like kind of the key. Okay, Pokemon clone, like creature turns into bigger, cooler creature. You know.
I wonder if they're going to do
I think
it.
that's.
I wonder if like the way they're going to do it is like, so each PAL that you collect, is it like almost like a loot and shoot game, or is it going to be like, this PAL is exotic and you can only catch, kind of like Pokemon does that too, but like if you catch this PAL, it's more rare, but I don't know if like you'll be able to breed them into that more rare like evolution.
Yeah, because the evolving mechanic is a big deal in the Pokemon community. I mean, I'm worried that if it does not adopt this mechanic over, that there's going to be some people that are kind of disappointed, because we 100%, and I hate going back to this because I go back to it all the time, but like I've said with the Dark Souls clone, like I expect certain things. And I'm just wondering if this Pokemon audience is going to expect certain things and then not end up getting them. And then that in turn makes the game not do as well as it possibly could have.
I wonder though, so with this game, it's different in Pokemon in the sense that it's kind of open world and you have to catch them in that way.
Right.
Blue, you can kind of talk to this. Is Temtem, do the characters in Temtem evolve?
Yes, they do. Yeah, so characters in
They do.
Temtem evolve. Temtem is like pretty open world with like very linear paths.
Right.
And Zags, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but like the couple of the more recent Pokemon games that have released are an open world format. So so here's kind of another thing that like you kind of mentioned. I don't know if you know this, you can choose between a boy and a girl in Pokemon. Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I know.
Well, so okay. And then
I'm just saying that the character model on this one is a little bit more.
No, I totally feel you. Yeah. Yeah, no, so sorry, what was like the initial question really?
Temtem.
Yeah.
So Temtem and evolutions.
Yeah, Temtem, they evolve in a very like similar way to Pokemon. Very much so.
Okay.
Yeah. The combat of
Yeah, so,
Temtem is what really separates it, and the like kind of the energy resource thing. Pokemon is so straightforward. Like you get your turn to make a move, then the enemy has their turn, then you have your turn to make a move. In Temtem, you do the same thing, but everything is a double battle. Everything is. So it's like a little 2v2 action every time.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And there's like,
that.
but on top of that, they really build on like the fact that like certain types of Temtems really synergize with each other. And then there's also like an energy resource. Like, you know, some moves take a lot of energy to use up, and like your energy slowly recharges throughout the battle. So you have to like keep that in mind. So Temtem really basically took the concepts of Pokemon, but then I think like kind of expanded on it. And that's what makes Temtem a very attractive Pokemon clone, in my opinion, is that they took the concept directly, but they built upon it. And that's what makes it good, is that they took it a step further.
do you think this is going to turn into more of like a Pokemon monster, or just kind of based off the way the trailer looks? Do you think it's more of a Pokemon towards Monster Hunter kind of look to it, like that kind of audience they're trying to get to?
If I would compare it to anything, and I've never played this Monster Hunter game, but I'm sure you could probably draw a lot of similarities, is Monster Hunter Stories. And I think that is probably what you could probably compare it a lot to, where where Monster Hunter Stories is almost like if you took like Monster Hunter and Pokemon and combined it together.
Gotcha.
Okay. It's a lot more like chibi. The artwork, it's more chibi, kind of kitty looking, cutesy, but it's this concept of where you actually kind of like collect monsters, I think, and like the monsters that you would normally fight and kill in Monster Hunter. But I wouldn't draw any like direct comparisons. It's unique. I mean, I don't know. Palworld is really unique. I mean, they're straight up just like cutesy, like critters with guns. I mean, it's it's a goofy ass concept, but I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I love the one scene where it's like your chick is like holding a fox underneath her arm and like squeezing the fox, and it's like breathing out fire. It's just like, this is ridiculous. This game is ridiculous.
But I'm super excited about it. Like I said, I don't know if it's gonna be a game I get day one drop, but I think I will buy it at some point, just because it is goofy. The mechanics of it look fun, and you get to essentially the scene they showed, you can fly your pals, so it's like essentially flying a Pokemon. That's kind of cool to me. So
I love
that's all Adam needs is flying. Can Adam fly? Yes, he loves the game.
No, fly. Just ride on stuff. I think it's fun.
I think my favorite design creature from the trailer is that like goofy ass looking like brontosaurus. Thing with the little,
that thing is so
because it looks
funny.
like a giant like stuffed animal or something.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
I like the one
it looks
with
high though. It's like
the rockets on its shoulders.
Yeah, it's got like the rockets on the. Yeah, it just looks.
Is that the same one? Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. It looks so goofy.
That's funny.
The funniest part, I literally like laughed out loud. It was so funny, just the way that like goofy brontosaurus kind of looks. And in the game the gameplay release, not the trailer release, there's this one scene where like the person is like hiding behind a tree and they have their gun out and it's just like sighted on this brontosaurus's head. And like as soon as the brontosaurus, like he comes around the tree like all like loopy doopy and then just gets popped in the face, and I was just like dying laughing, dude. It's so funny.
That's so cool.
But I do have one more thing just real quick, and this makes me nervous. So I don't know how many people notice this in the trailer. If you kind of look at the trailer and dissect it a little bit, there's one scene in the trailer where it's kind of showing like I don't know if it's like a community or if it's like like something that you're building, you know what I mean? Where they had all of these pails like lined up, and one fire one is like breathing on a cauldron, like the electric one is like electrocuting, stuff like that. So it seems like you need to collect certain ones to be able to build certain things, and this makes me very, very nervous that it's adopted kind of like a mobile kind of feel, almost like a I hate to say it, but like a Clash of Clans almost.
This is what you're talking about, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, this very much just reminds me of like a Clash of Clans, like a mobile like build kind of. Are you guys getting that vibe, or is it just me?
I think it's gonna be kind of like have you ever played Ark Survival, the dinosaur like game, or heard of it?
Yes.
So I wonder if this would be like your resources. So you have to use this to kind of build cook the resources you find, because I think it's supposed to have survival elements to it as well, more so than just catching Pokemon.
Right, but it makes me nervous because this is very reminiscent of like a mobile game. It's like set up 5 fire things and then tap on the fire thing when it's done and collect your resources. And like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Am I the only one that's like getting that kind
I think
of
you're reading into
vibe from it?
I don't think you can compare it to a mobile game, but I can kind of see where you're going with that.
Yeah. I know what you mean, like as far as the fear of it just being like, oh, look, station here, station there, grab when it's done, after like an hour, whatever the time. I know that's what your fear is. I don't know. To me, it gives me more of like a I mean, I just know like farming aspects are such a huge like thing in games right now. I mean, look at Animal Crossing. There, I'm assuming it's just got to be implementing some sort of farm system for like your house base, whatever you want to call it. Because in the announcement trailer, they also like emphasize they showcase like your pals like helping you build your house and or whatever. Like
Right.
it
looks like on the far like the far backside here. Like it looks like that's a structure that you'll have to build to have like your own house.
I think you like have a base you build and improve on over time.
Yeah, I think that's what it's kind of turning into. And I wonder, so in like this middle section here, kind of above the cauldron, does that look like a little bit of like, it looks like a baby version of the ones to the right. So maybe there's that evolve mechanic that we were talking about.
Wait, say that.
You know what I'm talking-
Which way? Where?
So you see like the little, like in the middle of the screen, kind of above the cauldrons, it looks like there's like two like pins right here. You can't see my mouse for some reason. Oh wait,
I can see your mouse.
Oh yeah, so like right
I
here.
can see the
Sorry.
mouse.
So like right here, these look bigger versions of these, right?
Oh.
So maybe there is a evolved mechanic,
Yeah.
or do you think they're completely different?
Yeah, because the one on the right is a bigger sheep, and the one in the middle is like a tiny sheep.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Ooh.
Maybe they
we just-
could have like different sizes. So like something in Monster
Maybe.
Hunter, like some of the monsters are legitimately like bigger than
Right.
like one monster of the exact same species monster is just bigger than another. They have like size differences.
Or
Look at and then you look at this one right here. Oh wait, it looks funky on my mouse. So like right here, doesn't he look like a different version of this one way over to the right here?
well, no, even look
look directly
look
below
directly
it.
below it. There's like a
There's like a
smaller
little-
Pikachu
Oh, yeah,
looking
yeah.
dude
Yeah, so maybe there is a evolved
No.
mechanic.
on the left
Look-
side. On the left side.
Look
yeah.
under.
Yeah, my mouse. I
Go on
see
the left
my
side.
mouse is on it.
Oh,
but
there we go.
For you
Yeah.
guys, yeah,
There we go.
It looks funny.
Yeah,
right here and here.
guys, it could just be coincidence, and these are just smaller. Or you heard it first on Let's Talk Nerdy podcast.
Palworld?
That Palworld has evolutions, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. That's kind of cool. So,
That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Confirmed, Blue. If we crack the code, you're in on this.
Yeah.
You know, this is a 3-man. This is a 3-manner. So yeah, I think the game itself is gonna look very interesting. You know, like you guys were saying, you know, it's definitely one that you guys are gonna pick up. I might not pick it up just because this isn't typically the type of game that I play. But I am very interested, and it's a game that I will definitely enjoy watching both of you guys play. And I will 1000% ask you to use a sheep with a machine gun every single time. So get ready for that.
Yeah.
Please have that in your arsenal.
yeah, we definitely will. And now, with that being said, so it's based off Pokemon, right? So
It is indeed.
if we could draft our Pokemon to be put into this game, so our favorite Pokemon draft. Blue, do you want to kick it off? Our
Let's go.
top 5 Pokemon draft for Palworld. Blue gets the first pick.
I feel like I'm going to lose this battle. I'm just throwing it out there
All
real
right,
quick.
number 1 on my roster is my all-time favorite Pokemon, Snorlax. I love
go.
the big, lovable guy. I want to own
a
a
tank.
Snorlax. I want to like eat snacks and take a nap on his belly. Like he's the ultimate.
Okay.
He's just the ultimate dude. He's so chill. Just eats and sleeps.
He was
Gotcha.
number 3 on my list. He's a tank.
Yeah, he is.
He's a tank.
All right, Zach.
Yeah.
Since you can go next. Since I always go first. It's your turn to go first.
I appreciate you. This one is kind of I feel like this one's going to be kind of a cop out, but I love me some Mewtwo.
Gosh, dang it!
How did
dude.
I know?
Can
I
please
look-
have some of my pokes.
I literally
Picks?
knew. Oh, Zach's is gonna pick Mewtwo because he's just like, oh yeah, he's just that cool, like psychic purple legendary who's really powerful. And like,
Yeah.
Mewtwo is so epic.
Yeah.
The funny thing
Zach's
is
the
I'm
most
not
basic.
even really. Dude, that's harsh. That's harsh. Okay, Mewtwo deserves to be on this
Yeah, I
list.
agree.
Guaranteed deserves to be on this list. He's so cool.
I knew it.
yeah,
I knew
I'm
it.
sorry,
He's
I had
so
to do it.
cool.
All right. My first overall pick, or my first pick, is going to be Charmeleon.
Okay.
Charmeleon, not
Yeah, I
Charmander,
like-
not Charizard. Charmeleon.
I think he's kind of got like he's got an attitude. You know what I mean? That's why I like him.
Interesting. The middle
That's where I'm
child.
going.
You chose the
You guys
middle
are
child.
like, yeah, exactly. Hey, I'm a middle child. Maybe
Does
that's
that-
why.
Maybe that is why you relate to him.
Does Does that mean Charizard is off the board? Because that's gonna throw my list off.
I mean, yeah, I know. No, it's not off the board. If you want Charizard, yeah, you can have him. Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Except for I'm picking him number 2. So.
But I go before you.
All right.
So my
Blue, what you
second
got?
one, well, because okay, so since we're like doing specific, we're not just doing the whole evolutionary line. I initially wrote down as my number 2 Typhlosion, but I want to change that to Cyndaquil.
Okay.
Cyndaquil is my like go-to all-time favorite starter from Generation 2. It's from the second generation of Pokemon. Cyndaquil is just, he's the best. Little closed eyes, fire anteater little critter. He's the best.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Adam, are you ready?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Number 2 Charizard.
Number 2 Charizard. His number 3 is probably Squirtle or Blastoise or something like that.
Guys, listen. I am an old man, okay? I am an old man. Give me the OG. He's a dragon. It's sick. I like it.
That's all right.
I'm sorry. I'm so old.
No, you're good.
Like, I'm
You're good.
going
I like
gray.
it. I like it. He's a powerful Pokemon, and he's like a staple. Look, I mean, look at look at my
Staple.
background. I even have Charmander on my background. I don't know if you can see it, but I do. So, all right.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
My
I feel
second
you.
pick
All right, what you got?
is Gengar.
That's a great pick. That's
Okay.
a great pick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's a
liked
great
it.
pick.
I liked him.
That's a great pick.
He's a cool Pokemon.
He was on my list.
Yeah.
You know, I love me some ghosts and some darker realm kind of stuff. He was definitely on
You
the
know, like
list.
the theory that it's like a dead Clefairy.
Oh, really? I
It's
didn't
got
know
like the
that.
same like body shape and everything. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, there's also
That's kinda
Because in the Pokedex and like the actual world of Pokemon, Ghastly are like dead Pokemon. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I also have
didn't know
another
that.
theory too, but I want to get to my pick once I'll say this theory once I pick. My
Yeah,
pick,
yeah. So Zags, one of the things I actually love about Pokemon more as like I guess I don't really play Pokemon games anymore, but like in hindsight, going back, there are a ton of just like theories and connections and things in the Pokedex that are fascinating. It's really cool, like the way they did it and all the information they've kind of.
I might not be like an avid Pokemon player, but I do like I do have a lot of friends that are really into the Pokemon, and the one thing that like I can super appreciate about Pokemon is like the lore.
Yeah.
I am like that I am like a lore junkie. Like I'm the dude that's like, I want to find this stupid helmet so that I could read this half a paragraph about why this character exists. Like I love lore.
Yeah.
So like the Pokemon, like the stories from Pokemon, top notch.
Yeah.
I love it.
So where are we on? Pokemon 3, number 3.
Yep.
So my third
Number 3.
choice
Yeah,
on
number 3.
here, and Zags, you would love this one if you don't know it. Another Gen 2 gem is Tyranitar.
Let's go.
Ooh, I was gonna put him on my
Absolute
list.
beast.
Yeah, he's a beast. Yeah,
Love
I like him.
Tyranitar.
Good pick.
He takes a long time to get a Larvitar to evolve all the way up to it. It's a big XP pool to get, but man, when you get it, it's greatest payoff. He's
Satisfying.
just such a
That's
cool looking Pokemon. Super powerful too.
Nothing great comes easy. Yeah. All right. My number 3. I'm gonna throw this one out here, and I feel like maybe this is gonna make me seem kind of weird. Give me some Mimikyu. I love Mimikyu. He's like the Pokemon psychopath. He's like wearing this like costume skin of Pikachu, like Silence of the Lambs style, and he does that weird like head thing. It's crazy. That's great. Give me that psychopath on my team. We are gonna make some stuff happen.
Mimikyu has
right.
a lot of fans. There's a lot of people that
Really?
like
I didn't know
Mimikyu.
that.
Oh yeah.
So my third pick is so this is actually the Pokemon I played all the way through for the first time was Sword and Shield, and so I'm picking Rillaboom, like the evolutionary of the starter. Rillaboom, he just looks like he's a gangster.
some gangster,
Yeah.
some gangster.
Oh,
Pokemon.
you
yeah.
mean the big ape with the drums
Yeah, dude,
with-
he's such a G.
with the leaves on his back? Yeah,
Dude, I've
it's
made
pretty
sure to
cool.
like overpowerful him. Like he's the Pokemon I used the whole way because I thought he was so cool.
It's pretty neat. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah,
Solid pick.
yeah.
All right,
Blue number 4.
number
What you
4.
got?
I've got another kind of Godzilla looking esque type creature.
Oh, here we go.
Aggron from Gen 3.
Okay.
Aggron, I love that whole evolutionary line. Aeron to Laron to Aggron. Big, just like metal bulldozing looking dinosaur thing.
You can't go wrong with anything that looks like a dinosaur.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll just
it's
throw
true,
that out
yeah.
there. Whatever you make it look like a dinosaur, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, my number 4. Hit me with some Greninja. I love Greninja. Okay,
He's cool. He's cool.
All that really needs to be said is like it's a Pokemon TMNT character. Like that's it. That's all that needs to be said.
Gotcha.
On my team. On my team, please.
All right, my 4th overall pick, kind of going into the theories and whatnot. My number 4 is Cubone.
Yes. Yeah. Talking about Pokemon theories. Zach, do you know about it?
I do not know this
Yeah,
theory.
we're gonna let him know.
This theory is Blue. Like, correct me if I'm wrong in any way. It's a Charmander that didn't get his flame or his fire.
Wait, what?
Yeah, and that's
so sad.
yeah. So that's what Cubone is.
So-
But I just think the mask on him looks so cool.
So-
Or like the skull.
There's a little more like detail in that. So
Mm-hmm.
the reason why he doesn't have his flame is that the theory is that baby Charmanders get their flames from their mother Charizard. But the theory is that a Cubone is a baby Charmander whose mother died and they didn't get their flame, and therefore they wear the helmet, which is the top half of the skull of their mother. Because if you look at a Cubone's helmet, it almost looks like a Charizard looking,
Charizard.
with like the 2 little nubs at the end. Yeah. And that's why Cubone is.
So how does it defend it?
What do you mean? How does it defend itself?
It doesn't have its flame. How does it How does it
grab
fight?
the bone.
It just whacks you with
Oh
a
yeah,
bone.
yeah. Why do you think its evolution is called Marowak? Because it whacks you with
Let's
bone
go.
marrow. Yeah.
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 That's a really sad story.
And Cubone
guys.
is like always like kind of been seen as like a very sad and moody looking Pokemon.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's my
Okay.
number 4. So.
That's like the Bambi of Pokemon.
Yeah.
But Bambi got pissed off.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
My
good
last
stuff.
pick, Flygon. Flygon. Yeah. I don't know if you know it.
Let's
It's this
go.
dragon.
I don't think
He's
I
like
know that one.
he's from Gen 3. He's so Bam, a flyer. I know you like flying Pokemon.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll always remember him from one of the, I'm not sure which Pokemon movie it is. I think it's the Jirachi Pokemon movie where Ash is flying on his Flygon fighting Groudon. Pretty epic. Just a cool, I've always thought
Sounds like
Flygon is really cool. It would be my go-to flyer in the Pokemon universe.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Let's go. Not bad. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with my final pick, I'm ready to get booed. Somebody's got to do it. All right, I'm taking Pikachu, and here's
It's
why.
not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Look at Adam's face. He says it's not bad, but his face says you are such a basic.
Dude, I almost
bitch."
put
Okay.
Raichu. I almost put Raichu in my. I put Raichu as an honorable mention for my list.
Hey, Zach, just wait till my
Let's
5th.
go.
You'll say the same thing
Okay.
about me.
Okay. Pikachu, like everybody loves Pikachu, and I could just see this being like a situation like, you know, when you bring like a puppy to the beach and like all the hot chicks are like, "Yo, let me pet your puppy." Like this is my
Yeah.
Pikachu. I just be like, "Yo, come to the beach, Pikachu," and then all the hot chicks would be like, "Hey, oh my god." So
Yeah.
yeah, Pikachu
Okay.
on my team.
All right.
Let's go.
All right.
Date night coming.
My 5th overall pick. Yeah, I'm probably gonna get a lot of like, wow, why is this your pick? Ditto.
Ditto.
Yeah,
But why, sir?
because I grew like the movie. The first time I ever saw him was the movie. I can't remember which. I think it was the movie with Mewtwo, right? Is that when I like that, or he's in that movie with him? Anyway, I just think it's so cool. He can transform into anything he wants, and I just think it's cool.
Do you want Ditto from like the Pokemon universe? Do you want Ditto from Detective Pikachu that can also turn into people?
Just the actual Pokemon,
Okay.
not from the movies.
Because
Yeah.
from the Detective
Yeah,
Pikachu movie, he could turn into people, which is really weird.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I feel
That's
like
creepy.
Blue was leading you in one direction, and you did not take the bait, and you should have.
Yeah, I probably should have, but no, I don't want that version. That seems scary.
I don't want
Okay.
that version.
All right.
Okay, makes their faces
right.
look really weird anyway. So
Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, that completes our Pokemon draft. Let us know in the comments who you think won. I'm gonna throw it out there and just say Blue won that one
Blue
because
won
he
for
knows
sure,
his shit.
yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, next up on the docket, we're talking a little Witchfire.
Witchfire.
Let's pull up this trailer. I have lots to say about this.
Yeah, this is a game that we kind of thought that would be up your alley a little bit.
Yeah.
Zags, isn't it?
And it
I
is
immediately
not.
thought of you,
Yeah.
Zags, when I saw it, seriously, which is interesting.
Yeah, and
Yep.
I think we all kind of
Yep.
thought that this was going to be a game better than it actually looks. The more I looked into it, I was like, oh, this is going to be super exciting. And then I got into it. I was like, no.
Yeah. So I can understand why you think this would be a
Bullet
game
storm.
that would be right up my alley. We are guys, again, if you're listening on the Spotify, what we're looking at now is the gameplay trailer. We're seeing a lot of gothic stuff. There's a lot of skulls. There's a lot of abandoned fields. We got this guy in this crazy skull mask. I mean, this, like, you would think, like, Dave, this is your game. Just, it's very Bloodborne-esque. It's got all types of... The setting is amazing,
Yeah.
and I feel like this game is going to have a bunch of lore, but also what we're looking at is a very... I don't want to say clunky, but it looks like a very not finished first-person shooter with some type of Overwatch kind of mechanics. Like, I'm confused. At this point, I'm confused
Right.
at what this game actually is and what it's trying to be. And I don't know if you guys have any insight of what you think it is, but I'm like, that's the word that kind of sums this up for me, is like confusion. Like, what is this?
And so, kind of to your point, the word that you said that kind of I wrote down here as well is clunky. I felt like the
Yes.
mechanics of the game, like the shooting mechanics, didn't look very polished. Just the way the characters moved didn't look very polished. I do agree with you though that the setting seems really cool, and I was like, oh, that's kind of where I thought, ooh, this might be a game for Zags and maybe Blue because of the setting. But just kind of what you said is like, I don't know. I just the mechanics seem like they're older. Like they didn't do very well putting the time into those mechanics.
I think confusion is a great thing to mention, because I don't think you're alone in that, Zags. I think the developers were also confused as to what the game is supposed to be. So
Right.
apparently, throughout development, there have been a lot of like just completely stripping down and restarting as far as what the game is. Like, I was watching a video giving a summary about some of the Summer Game Fest stuff, and when they were talking about Witchfire, he mentioned a lot about the fact that there's sections of the game that had to be completely remade, essentially.
Really?
Yeah, that from like
Exactly.
top to bottom, they completely scrapped what they had, because I guess it just wasn't working, or for whatever reason. I think ideas just constantly were changing, but supposedly the game has just been going through a lot of different changes, and the ideas and directions that it's going in are kind of all over the place.
Right. And
Yeah.
And so really to kind of say what this game's about is essentially it's witches versus the church, and you're a witch hunter, but you're fighting witches, but you also get magic. So I don't understand where that kind of comes into play. You'll have the power of the 4 elements. So it's
like-
trying to be
It's like Blade.
Yeah,
It's
but
like
sorry,
Blade.
but-
He's the cool
yeah.
vampire, so it's all
yeah,
good.
right? Yeah. So he's okay.
Yeah, it's all good, yeah.
So I think that's kind of what it's going with.
Your character gets a free
Yeah,
pass.
right.
Because
It's
you're the
okay.
cool. You're
No,
the
that's
good
fine.
guy. You're the main character.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like you're the cool mom that lets us smoke weed at the house.
That's exactly. And then
Yeah, so real quick, there's a lot going on. Like Adam was talking about, this is kind of like a holy war and stuff like that. It's a very dark fantasy type of game. And again, if you guys were just listening on the Spotify and didn't really get to see some of the gameplay, what it does for me is it gives me like almost like some Dishonored vibes. I don't know if you guys were kind of picking up on that, but I feel like the actual gameplay, what I was seeing, kind of gave me some Dishonored kind of vibes. Also a little bit of Overwatch, and then also like story mode. I'm getting like a little bit of Diablo almost, because there's parts in this game where you can choose to like sacrifice people, or you can like let them live. I'm just so confused at what this game is trying to be. It seems like it's trying to take all of these elements, like, you know, we're pulling gameplay from Dishonored, we're pulling settings from Bloodborne, like we're pulling this Overwatch style like hand mechanic, like, and just trying to pool it all into one thing, and it's just become so much of a mess that they can't clean it out now.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else is kind of getting that vibe, but that's the kind of vibe that I get from it.
I don't see so much as far as like maybe as much of a cluster as I think you see it as. It does look clunky though. I definitely agree. I think it looks super clunky. But you're right. I just think it's struggling. Based off this is all first impressions. Who knows? Maybe this game's gonna be sick and it's gonna be awesome. But it does, just off initial looks, it looks like it doesn't really know what it's. I don't know what I'm supposed to expect from it. Also, isn't it just a single player like?
I believe
story
so,
mode
yeah.
shooter?
Yep. Yeah.
That fascinates me a lot, because just based off the first person perspective of it all, I'm like, this looks like it's gonna get old. And the interesting part is it's made by do you guys know the game Bulletstorm?
Yeah.
So this game is made by the same people who made Bulletstorm, which is like the most forgettable shooter ever, that was essentially just created to promote Gears of War 3.
I was actually gonna bring that
like
up.
that as soon as I saw that at the start, I'm like, is that something I don't know if that's something to be proud of, to be gloating. Oh, it's creators of Bulletstorm. I'm like, I literally just got Bulletstorm so I could get my like early access to the Gears of War 3 beta. That's the only reason why I got it.
Like,
That's funny.
99% of the people that have Bulletstorm is for that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure. The one thing that I did think was interesting, and again, I'm not like you guys know I'm not a first person shooter kind of guy, so I'm curious to see what you guys think. Did you guys take a look at this shooting mechanic?
It looks terrible, in my opinion. I think.
You think it looks
I thought
terrible?
It looks clunky. Yeah.
Yeah, clunky, and it doesn't look. It looks like it'd be like an early like an older version of like first person shooter. Like the mechanics, the way the guns move, it just seemed very static. It didn't have anything like, kind of like what you guys said. It's the most forgettable. It feels like it's going to be forgettable. Like the mechanics of the game are going to be forgettable.
I know it's the same person as Bulletstorm. What's the developer and publisher? Are they pretty like well known, or like?
Is it Epic?
Is Epic the one that's?
Is it Epic?
I know like they're using Unreal Engine on it. It might be Epic. I could be wrong, but
I just
we can look it up.
It just
I'll look it up real quick.
looks to me like, I don't know. I just seeing what some indie developers are doing with some of their games visually, just off what you see in the trailer. I'm like, there's like some smaller studios that could probably put something that, I don't know, looks a little bit more impressive.
it just
than
says
that.
the astronauts is what it's saying.
Oh yeah, okay, that's what I saw too.
So I don't know. It doesn't impress me, or like it doesn't wow me like another game that we're gonna talk about later.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
So the mechanic that I was interested in, and I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's like a very kind of unique shooting mechanic, right? So this game is introducing something I believe they called holy bullets, something like that. And basically what's going to happen is when you're in this shooting mechanic, you know, you guns drawn, blah, 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 you are going to have different types of hits. So you'll have a critical hit that will do severe damage, and then you'll have just kind of a regular hit. And then based on the number of critical hits that you get in your chamber, so say you have 6 bullets in your chamber, if you fire all 6 bullets and you end up getting 4 critical hits, when you reload, you will now have 4 quote unquote holy bullets in your gun that will do a ridiculous amount of damage.
That's weird.
Did you guys see anything on
No,
this?
I didn't see anything on that. That's very strange.
How do you guys feel about that mechanic as like a first person shooter? You know, like I said, I'm not a huge first person shooter, guys. You guys are definitely more like in tune with that world. How do you feel about the possibility of having bullets that do different amounts of damage? Like, is that something you would enjoy, or do you think that's gonna like kind of throw off your, your flow of the game, is not knowing how much damage is gonna happen every time?
I think they're gonna have a base damage, and then so this is kind of so with the Division, they have a kind of a similar mechanic in terms of like different gear pieces give you certain buffs at certain points of when you're shooting somebody. So if you're shooting like a weapon for X amount of like rounds, then you get a 35% increase in the damage. So I'm wondering if it's gonna be something like that. So I don't think it's gonna be that. I don't know. Maybe not so significant, like to really change everything. I think they'll have a base damage, and then those critical damage will just be additional buff that you're like, oh, that's awesome, I got that.
To be totally honest, I feel like it doesn't really even matter all that much, considering it's just it's a PvE campaign, or I don't know if it's a campaign only, but like it's a PvE only game. If you're gonna release a shooter that's PvE only, it better be good. Like it better be good, because most people who play shooter games have some sort of interest in multiplayer shooter gameplay.
Right. Yeah,
like PvP is
at least a co-op.
Yeah, like PvP is such a I feel like it's almost such a staple now for a shooter. If that's what if your game is like purely like a FPS, if it's only gonna be a PvE and you're just fighting all these like these computer mobs, it's like it better be good, and it better be have an in-depth system.
Right.
So maybe that mechanic that you mentioned, sure, have it in there, but make it like in depth, make it have like a purpose, give it some meat to it. Everything that's in there's got to be some depth, because I mean, if I'm just shooting at computers all day, it's gonna get boring fast.
And I think
because they were kind of touting it as like a mechanic that they were proud of, like they're introducing some type of new mechanic, and that's kind of what I was wondering is like, should you be proud of this? Should it even be in the game? Like, are traditional shooter players even going to like this? Is this going to be something that's going to just be like completely unnoticed? That's the question that I had, and it seems like you guys have kind of confirmed my assumptions that this mechanic will mean nothing, and they should probably just scrap it. They should probably just take it easy on all the clout that they're throwing around about it.
I think kind of the word that we threw on earlier, based off, was it called Bulletstorm? Is that what the game was called?
Yeah.
So this forgettable. I think this game is going to be sure, I tried it, and now I don't remember the name of it 3 months down the line.
Someone clip that and record it, so that if this game pops off and becomes successful, you can throw it in the compilation of the doubters. So yeah.
this will live forever on the internet. Yeah.
Or nobody will know because it's forgotten about forever.
We talked about it.
You know what the worst thing though is, this game, for me, this game is forgettable. I probably will not think another thing about this game as soon as we're done talking about this, if we're going to be 100% honest. But it does seem like a game, and I'm kind of going back to like, I'm a lore junkie. It does seem like a game that's going to be rich with lore. And I feel like, that's probably a reason why you guys thought I would like this game, is because of, the vibe and the setting and stuff like that. And it's like, what if it's like a really, like an amazing story that just gets overshadowed by this just terrible gameplay, and no one ever gets to like experience it?
Right.
Like, that would be a travesty, because I feel like lore wise, I feel like there's something there. I do feel like the idea is great. I think the execution is poor.
Right. And I think that I definitely agree with you with that. And then kind of going off that, if you really want to learn about the lore and stuff, I'm sure YouTube will have all of it. So if you don't like the game mechanics, you're like, oh, but I want to learn about the lore. Hey, Witchfire story in 10 minutes. Like, there you go.
We will link down below to a Witchfire lore video or something. At some point we'll link down below. So for me, this game is going to be forgettable. I was excited when the trailer first loaded up, and then the further and further we went down the rabbit hole, just the less and less excited I got, which is a shame. So
pass.
We shall see. Hard pass for me. Blue, what do you think?
Yeah, I would
Pass
say
for you as well?
pass. games that I'm primarily interested in these days, I like playing multiplayer games. Like it's some sort of multiplayer incorporation's important for me. And if it's going to be a single player only game, I have to have a lot of like investment and like excitement for it. And I have to be really into it.
Right.
Yeah. So, guys, let us know down below if there's anything that we missed about Witchfire, if there's anything we should reconsider, if you guys got any tips, or if you guys got any information that we haven't touched on yet that would give us a reason to come back and touch this game. But for right now, R.I.P. Witchfire on the Let's Talk Nerdy podcast.
You get a
And now
stinky
with that
doo-doo
being
rating.
said, doo-doo rating. And now moving on. So, Blue, you say you love some multiplayer stuff. What about massive multiplayer? That being Wayfinder.
Dude, yeah, I was super into World of Warcraft for a minute growing up, so I have been on a mission to find a new MMO to get into. I have one that I'm really waiting on that's been in early alpha, but it's called what is it called? I don't know what it's called, but there's like a lot in development right now, and so Wayfinder kind of just is new for me. Popped up on my radar. I hadn't heard anything about it before seeing the Summer Game Fest stuff. So, before I have my notes, I don't know if you want to roll the trailer here first.
Yeah, roll it right now.
Or do you?
Yeah, let's take a look at the trailer here.
And I'll give you like my kind of thoughts on this because I want you guys to kind of look at all this first, and it might make sense. So yeah, we got this person with like a gun and like a backpack.
And overall, I thought the art style was really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Got a lot of comments on character design too.
And this is giving me like a very I want to tread lightly here. This is because I'm talking to an expert, but I am getting a little bit of the Monster Hunter vibe, and I don't know if that's accurate. But visually, that's kind of what I'm getting, like in the way that the characters are designed and stuff like that. That's a little bit like kind of what I'm getting from it.
If you were to compare it visually to anything, I would say it reminds me a lot of Dauntless.
Oh, okay.
Dauntless is
that's actually a really good comparison.
It's a Monster Hunter clone, but a lot of like the textures and stuff, they're very like, I love the colors, and a lot of like the character design stuff I think is cool, but like a lot of like the textures are very flat, and that reminds me a lot of Dauntless. Dauntless has like a lot of those just like geometrical, like very flat surfaces. Everything looks kind of boxy and like almost like made out of the same material kind of thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was getting from it. It's kind of the visual design is like lacking depth, but in an on purpose kind of way, if that makes sense. That's 100% what I was getting from it.
Intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Blue. So you are the man when it comes to this type of stuff. What are you thinking about this game? Because I have some thoughts.
So my initial thought on this game, to be totally honest, is it looks like you had like a CEO of a video game company grab someone from like different big game developers. Like they grab someone from like League of Legends, then they grab someone from like Overwatch, then they grab something from World of Warcraft, then they grab someone from and he just said video game, make it. And that's what this like looks like to me. I mean, you have like magical characters with sniper rifles, and it's just like there's a customization thing, but like you also have like pre-built classes. It's just like there's so many moving parts. There's grappling hooks, there's cities, there's like, it looks like you can like gather stuff. There's probably skill tree stuff. It just looks like someone just like, man, I like that idea in that game, let's add that. Oh, that good, we need to have guns, let's add that. Oh, this character over here, let's make it kind of look like World of Warcraft because people like that game. It's just, that's what it screams to me. it just like it's like video game. Like if someone were to just be like generic video game, this is what I would picture.
They used AI to build it.
Yeah, like monsters and wizards.
Build us a game based off all these things.
Yeah, and some
put
of the
it together for me right now.
Yeah, some of the characters look like they're straight up pulled out of like Valorant, like the designs. One of the characters, like that big muscle chick, she's straight up just like a Junker Queen clone from Overwatch. Like one of the enemy mobs, I forgot what they're called, but one of the enemy mobs looked exactly like something out of World of Warcraft. It just looks like so many ideas taken from other games and just like just smashing it into one.
Together.
That's what I see with this. I'm not excited for it because of that. I'm not a fan of that, but a small part of me is also like, who knows, maybe that's what's also going to make it kind of just cool. Like it's everything, it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And what I do like about it though is I think it's supposed to be free to play, right?
It is free to play.
Yeah.
Yep, free to play.
So I mean, I will 100% try it out because of that.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
It's going to be on PC, console, with early access this summer. So there's going to be time for him to polish stuff up for sure.
So I will definitely be trying this out. Yeah.
So I kind of had the same notes. Adam, I don't know how you feeling about this game.
I'm not really big into the MMOs. Kind of just going off with it. The only thing that I thought was cool was the art style, to be honest. That's what I was like, oh, I like the art style. I like the way it looks pretty. But MMOs, like you guys are saying, it looks very generic of a video game.
Yeah. This is video game, the video game.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like some CEO just typed into ChatGPT, like, make me a video game, and it's like that's what it spit out. And they're like, okay, let's do that. Yeah, guys. So if you don't know anything about the game, basically I'm kind of seeing this again as like a Monster Hunter clone, like a Warframe clone, like a World of Warcraft clone. Like we said, we're kind of putting all of this stuff together. Within the game, you are going to have various things to do. There'll be social hubs where you can meet up with other players and stuff like that. There's dungeons that you can go within, and you can loot dungeons, stuff like that. There's world bosses that you can take on together. It has all the makings of a proper MMO. The thing that I don't really love is there's 6 playable characters, and you're going to be swapping characters all the time.
I didn't realize that.
And yeah, you're going to be swapping characters all the time. So
I think it's you.
I mean,
you pick one, and then you have to like craft the other ones or something like that. That's what I got.
So the research that I did is because that goes against everything that like an MMO is. Like you build your character, you are that character. You like your whole goal is like either keeping this one character alive or like leveling the character up and like getting to where you want to be. And I did see that you are gonna be swapping characters a lot. And I kind of go back to like we touched on it with Gotham Knights. We touched on it with Mortal Shell when we did the Souls clone thing. Like I cannot stand swapping characters. Like I just want my one character. Like I built it a very specific way. Like I've grinded out to get the weapon set that I want, the armor set that I want, and like I don't want to play as anybody else. Like that is my character.
It makes it special. So it makes it special to you because it's like it's yours. It's yours.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel like they took that away, which really scares me for an MMO because it's different. Like it's different for like you're watching like Overwatch or something like that. Like you're switching characters and stuff. I mean, you're playing matches. What I mean? Like it's fine swapping like doing a new match as a new character. Like I'll be this character this time. That's not what an MMO is. I mean, you should have one dedicated character that is like your character. And the swapping really scares me. It really, really, really scares me. And like it is free to play, but you know what that means.
Oh, microtransactions. Let's go.
Yeah.
Microtransactions.
Pay to win.
Baby.
Here we come.
Yeah. Pay to win, right? Yep. So like I don't know. I'm nervous about this game.
Yeah. Man.
And I mean I'm trying to find something good. You know what I
The
mean?
art
Like
style,
I
that's
feel
all
like
we
I feel like I crapped a lot on the games that we have on this list. I'm trying to find something good, but this game again does make me very, very nervous. And I unfortunately, you know, I do think it's a game that a lot of people are going to get because it is free to play. And let's face it, games are expensive, you know, so people are going to download it and give it a shot. I don't know. I just like we said, it's kind of a hodgepodge of everything. It's going to be loaded up with microtransactions. It may not be a traditional MMO like you're thinking of. So if you are thinking about this game, maybe just temper expectations until you get in there and see what it's all about.
Yep. So, pass.
That's a pass for me
Yeah.
too. That's a pass for me too.
I'd say
sorry.
initial pass, but I will definitely just like I'll check it out because I know I probably have some friends that will probably check it out too. So
Yeah.
you know, I'll give you my 2 cents on it when that comes around.
Sounds good. All right.
We would love to hear it.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we do unfortunately think that this game is going to be a flop, and therefore we thought it would be kind of fun if we do like a little powwow session, talking about our favorite flops, gems, and games that just kind of nailed it.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for this.
All right.
I'm super excited for this. Okay, so the idea behind this is a flop is a game that was super hyped and then was dog shit. A hidden gem, obviously, is a game that was not hyped at all and kind of came out of nowhere. And our nailed it section is a game that was super hyped and deserved it.
I like it.
I'm so happy.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for this. Ladies and gentlemen, let's do the flops first, and let's give Blue the stage.
Blue.
Guess first.
Yep.
Blue, what is your flop? Your biggest flop of all
So
time?
I have like a few here, but I got to pick one. And I think I'm going to pick the one that we can talk about probably the most as far as my personal experience with is Evolve.
That was going to be on my list. I remember that game.
Yeah.
I was super excited to download it, but I'll let you kind of dive into it more.
Yeah,
So.
so if anyone is not familiar with Evolve, it is this, what do you call it? An asymmetrical shooter game where it pits it's a completely strictly multiplayer game where it pitted 4 people who played as like these 4 I can't remember if you were called like something specific like soldiers, engineers, something like that, versus one player who plays as a creature, a giant like alien monster thing. And the idea and concept and initial like image of it, the initial trailer and gameplay of everything was so cool. I mean, I just immediately was like, I want to play that. Like, that looks sick.
Yeah.
I want to play that. I'm going to grind this out like crazy. And it was getting all this hype. I mean, you know, the CEO of like Epic Games was like coming out and saying like, this is going to be my like new addiction and blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, like everyone was hyping this game up like crazy. Because the initial like reviews and test gameplay of it just were like, everyone just loved it. Everyone thought this is it's new. Asymmetrical games, which are now much more established, were not as big of a thing at the time. Like the idea of having like one team of like 4 or 5 versus like one person wasn't as like common. It wasn't like as commonplace when it was initially coming out, and it just immediately just I think after like a month, the player base just like completely shot down. And a lot of that just has to do with how limited the game was once it released as far as the amount of content there was. I think when the game released, there was only like 3 or 4 monsters you could play as. That was it. And this is crazy. The game launched with $136 in available paid DLC. $136.
Wow.
Seriously?
That means they developed all of this before launch. They programmed all of this into the game before launch, but they decided to put up $136 worth of paywall.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's literally insane.
And
that's like a slap in the face.
And it wasn't even good DLC. It was literally like taking like a little like $2 or $3 to take like a simple little gray pistol and making it like dark blue. Like it was just.
I can't believe they did. Like I was super excited about that game. And yeah, I played it for probably, like you said, a month, and then I just like, all right, I keep loading into this game. Like, what am I doing next? Like the same thing. Okay, I'm a monster now. I'm a soldier now. Like
it turned
just
into
became tedious and boring.
Yeah, and especially because the gameplay after a little bit, people caught on to like what the best strategy was, and as the monster, you just run away. You just keep running away.
Yeah.
As the monster, the reason why it's called Evolve is, so Zags, are you familiar with this game at all?
I do remember seeing a lot about it. It definitely was.
So the
hyped.
main like concept of the monster, when you played as the monster, you would evolve into like a bigger, stronger version, which was a really cool concept. And one of the main ways you would do it was from like consuming other creatures in the map or completing tasks and things like that to like essentially like get your like little XP bar up to where you could evolve. And it just turned into this whole deal of like, well, the best way to do that is just to like constantly be running away. So it just gameplay essentially was just like 20-30 minutes of chasing hide and seek, and that was it. And it just became extremely boring, tedious, and repetitive.
Yep. And kind of going off
Do you
that,
think
so I played the monster probably like 2 times. And I felt bad eating these innocent creatures. So I was like, I don't want to eat these to like evolve. So I only played the soldier mostly.
Yeah.
But I was so like, I don't like eating these creatures.
Arguably, playing as a soldier is probably the most fun.
Yeah.
I think it was a lot more fun than playing as a
that.
monster. Yeah, because they're at least with the soldiers, I think they did a pretty good job with like creating the different classes, and you could upgrade each class. That was all pretty standard though. It wasn't like they were doing anything innovative. What was I think extremely disappointing though with it, more than anything, to add a little more context, is that the developers, Turtle Rock Studios, was actually a studio that came about from people who left Valve, and the people that created Evolve were heavily involved with Left 4 Dead. So a lot of people thought like, oh, this is gonna be sick. This is gonna be like Left 4 Dead with aliens and monsters, and it just fell so flat. Like it just nothing. I mean, probably like tried to add way more concepts than Left 4 Dead, but yet Left 4 Dead is still just like a so much superior game.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes
you just got to keep it simple.
Yep.
Sometimes you just keep it simple.
Yep, exactly.
Also, a shout out to Bam and his Heart of Gold for not wanting to destroy innocent little game
virtual
creatures.
game creatures that had no effect on my life, but it just like
that was
to see like
that was precious, buddy. That was precious.
All right, Zach, you want to go next?
Right. Yeah, I'll go next. I just want to throw it out here. This is not my pick. But it definitely deserves to get thrown under the bus right now. The only reason it's not my number 1 pick is because we talked about it last episode in Starfield. But shout out to No Man's Sky, who disappointed me more
on my list
than
too.
anything.
Yeah.
Shout out to No Man's Sky, who has disappointed me more than any game developer in the world. But with that being said, my pick for the biggest flop, and I tried to keep it kind of current here. I have to go Gotham Knights.
Yeah,
I had to go.
my list too.
I had to go Gotham Knights. I had to do it. I love the Arkham series. You guys.
Arkham Asylum was so fun.
It's so good,
dude. It's no secret. I am a huge Batman junkie. I love Batman. That's my day one homie. I love Batman. When the Arkham games first came out, I was super excited. They were super hyped. We got Arkham Asylum, we got Arkham Knight, we got and every single time they were hyped. I got them. They were amazing. They were exactly what I wanted. And then Gotham Knights comes along and
Gotham
just.
Knights.
Dude, it just threw such a wrench in the plan. It was hyped so much to be like, we don't need Batman. It's going to be awesome. I promise. And it's like, you are so fucking wrong.
Yeah.
I cannot explain in words how much you need Batman. Like, okay. All right, sir. You don't need Batman. Those are some
words.
Those are some fighting words. So yeah, had to throw it on there. Gotham Knights. Switching between the characters absolutely sucked. The storyline itself was less than forgettable. I could not get into the storyline whatsoever. And even just gameplay mechanic wise, like simple things like riding around on the bikes and stuff like that was just very glitchy and clunky. And I'm like, this game has no storyline. You took away the best character in the game, and it doesn't seem like it's completed. So like, yeah, Gotham Knights. Boo.
I have that same feeling as Dave. So Dave and I both started playing this game at the same exact time. Like he streamed it one night,
Same exact time.
and I streamed it the next night, and we're like, he's like, do this, and I was like, okay. It still sucks to do that. Like it's not fun. Like the game it's like you said, clunky. It was shallow. The mechanics felt awful. Like some of the rendering was bad. It crashed a lot on my computer. It wasn't it.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
and you had such an amazing form, like the Arkham games and that fight mechanic and like that visual style of storytelling. Like again, it's another like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like you had everything you needed. You just could have just kept it right in line, right? And nope, that's a big F. That's a big F.
Big F.
Big F. All right, Adam, what you got?
Okay, so I think you thought I was going to pick a certain game, but I'm going a different route.
Yes.
This is actually the first game that I ever met Dave playing, and I tried it as well. So it's like, look, connecting both our games. Avengers.
I know.
Avengers.
This is not where, this is not where I thought you were going.
This game was like, I thought it was going to be like the most amazing. I thought it was going to be the Avengers version of like Spider-Man. I thought it was going to be like very full of content. I thought it was going to play really well. I just thought the story was disappointing. The graphics were disappointing. The mechanics, the acting, like the whole game was just a big old pile of disappointment. And this came flying on my shoulders. I played it for like an hour and a half, didn't get very far. And this game is so bad that they took it offline. Like the game, you can't play online anymore. It's gone. Like you can't play it anymore. Like you can play the game, but you can't play the online version.
Did they take away the online, or was there just nobody playing the online?
They're like, you know what, this game
we
sucks
don't
that
really
bad.
need to pay for this server.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they did. So, and they tried like, oh, we made it better with more DLC, but the DLC was sucked. So,
Blue, did you end up playing this
I'm
game?
like laughing and smiling because I didn't play it, but I have a YouTuber, like a YouTube channel that I watch avidly, and they played it, and it was just it's just so funny because I'm like, this game looks like such doggy poo poo. Just even like right from like the intro cutscene.
Yeah.
Like with the because you have like the girl like walking around, right? Like
Miss Marvel.
Yeah, but it's like the guys playing the game made such great comments. Like, why are all the Avengers like so focused on this one person? Like, it's just like really weird. Like they're just like Captain America just popping out of nowhere, and then people are just walking around like they don't care. It's just it's really weird. Right. And that voice acting, the script, like whoever wrote the script, like I don't know what you were thinking.
Yeah.
It's just like
everything
I saw. Yeah, I was like, this looks awful.
And the mechanics were so bad.
The opening sequence was like one of my favorite opening sequences in all of video games because I was just laughing so hard the entire time, and I just kept thinking, like, I don't know if you guys remember, but you're obviously you know, you are that girl and you're kind of going through all these things, and you're like, it's like a convention almost. And I just kept thinking in my head, like, oh, this is the Avengers, and they're like all washed up now, and they have to do Comic-Cons to make like rent payments. Like that's all I kept thinking about. Is like the Hulk kind of like he's old now and can't really fight, so now he has to do these like signings to like make enough money to survive and stuff. I was just like, no, I don't know about this game. It's crazy.
That was my biggest flop.
But more than Saints Row 2.
So I will say Saints Row didn't have hype behind it. Everybody warned me that that game was going to be bad, but I held on to hope that I was like, no, you guys are wrong. Like, it's going to be fun. That game was the most unpolished, flat game I've ever played, but it didn't have hype behind it.
Okay.
One game I had on my list, because I know we probably want to move on soon, but I also had Anthem on my list.
Yeah,
because you want to talk about like a game that spent so much money on promotion. Anthem. I remember seeing promo stuff about it when I was in like New York City one time. Like there's like subway signs where it was just like this game was marketed like crazy, and then it's just like by like literally every person who's played is like, yeah, this game sucks.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just yeah.
Also, shout out Cyberpunk. I know none of
Yeah.
us wanted to put this on the list and be so fucking basic, but yeah, definitely deserves a nice little shout out in this flop section. Shout out Cyberpunk. Keanu Reeves, I love you, buddy, and I'm sorry that happened to you.
I want to put one more in there too. Overwatch 2 as well.
Yeah,
I know
I totally
Blue
get
loves
that.
this game. I loved Overwatch 1.
Yeah.
Obviously, like the community got very toxic. It just kind of got all. It became a game that nobody liked playing. And then Blizzard promised Overwatch 2 all these things. They hyped it up, and then they're like, "We didn't do a single thing of that." And
Yeah, I don't think-
essentially, they made the same game, just took a like instead of 6v6, it's 5v5. But
Yeah, I don't think we preface any of this at the start. I'm an avid Overwatch 2 player, by the way.
Yeah, yep,
So
yep.
no, I 100%. I
I enjoy
totally
the game
understand
still.
and respect that.
Yeah.
100%. I totally get that. As someone who didn't really avidly play Overwatch 1 though,
Yeah.
I didn't get that same like hype or feel. So, but
Yeah.
I totally feel for all the Overwatch 1 players that were betrayed.
I still enjoy the
Yeah.
game, but do I play it anymore? No.
Yeah.
I never go back. But that's another game that was kind of hyped, but
No, I totally
Yeah.
get that. That's totally fair.
yeah.
All right, now that we've all been a bunch of negative
Yeah.
Nancy's, let's
This
go.
whole
Let's
episode
get into the
tonight.
funs. Let's get into the fun stuff, ladies and gentlemen. We are moving on to our hidden gems. Let's go. I'm excited for this one, Blue.
Take it away.
Hit me with your hidden gem. What you got?
So this is like I wanted to find a way to talk about this that we've talked about me talking about this. And so when I realized, oh, this is gonna be the best way to talk about this. My hidden gem is not necessarily the single game, but the franchise as a whole and what it's kind of become. Monster Hunter.
Okay.
That's
saw
my
this.
hidden gem.
I saw this coming.
Monster Hunter. No one knew what the hell Monster Hunter was before Monster Hunter World dropped that reveal at the was it at E3? I think it was Sony's E3.
Yeah.
Is where that little reveal trailer and everyone's like, blah, blah, everyone's freaking out. Before that, no one like it was like Japan and then like the cult following in the West that knew about it. Monster Hunter is just such a beautiful, like, just chef's kiss in my opinion. One of the greatest games to just like what it does is amazing as far as the amount of content, replayability, systems and mechanics within the game, combat, just the actual pure gameplay of it is just, it's fantastic. And before Monster Hunter World kind of blew up the franchise, it was doing all that even before anyone really knew about it, even before it got any sort of like marketing or press in the West. It was an extremely, it's been Capcom's actually most financially successful franchise of all time.
Really?
Even above Resident Evil and like Street Fighter, which is very surprising.
Which, yeah, I was very surprised when you told me that.
Yeah.
I was like, man, above Street Fighter? I was like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
all
just
right.
because like Japan, they knew about it. Like everyone knew. It's Capcom just didn't want to have to, like, I think, go through the process and stress of like, getting this out to the West, and like because
Yeah.
it was such a unique kind of niche type of game in its early stages of life. It's like, how are we going to convince anyone to get into this? So it's kind of Japan's like own little thing, and everyone there loves it. They have a holiday in Japan for Monster Hunter, and it's
Really?
They have a
Yeah.
Monster Hunter Day.
yeah,
That's awesome.
That's
and
sick.
it's just it's just does everything beautifully. To me, Monster Hunter, and especially Monster Hunter World, when that released to the West and everyone realized, like, whoa, like to any of my friends that ended up playing it, they were like, okay, I know why you're obsessed with this franchise. When World released, it just kind of let everyone know that it's like, yeah, this game has been the shit. You're just finding out now. Yeah.
Let's go. That's it. I will say, watching you play these games, like, I can feel like your love of the game, because like you can sometimes just see it where like I'm sure you guys can see it when I'm playing you know, when I'm playing my stupid Souls stuff and stuff like that, and I'm like, I beat a boss and I throw a controller
And break
like
glass
that. Like,
and-
yeah, like that. Like Blue gets like he gives me that energy when he's playing Monster Hunter. He'll be like, Zags, look, he's asleep. I'm just like, dude, he loves this game, and like I love that he loves this game. So yeah, that I definitely should be on the hidden gem. If you had to, so this is my thing with Monster Hunter. There's a lot of content, and I did want to know from like a Monster Hunter expert where is, like, if somebody is just jumping in, where is a good jumping in point? Like, where should they start? Because it's kind of like that Final Fantasy kind of like when there's so many, like it's like, do I go all the way back? Can I just jump in at a certain point and be okay? Like, what would you say there?
Yeah, I would say it's there's like a pro and a con to like jumping into any title in the series, because there are differences, especially when you're talking about world. World, I would probably point people to just say like, just play World, because I think it is just so, it's visually the most beautiful Monster Hunter game. Just because I think it introduced a lot of concepts to a Western audience the best. There's still a few things though that are really obscure that do require some Googling or YouTubing for guides and things like that. But I would say Monster Hunter World is your best bet. And what's great about Monster Hunter World right now is that all the event quests, so what Monster Hunter does is they do free event like content, which is amazing. Like games do not do that. Like they just do all this. Like they have like a calendar. They have announcements. Capcom, when they do the Capcom show, has like their announcement for, hey, October, you're getting 3 new monsters and a bunch of event quests and some new layered armor and some new weapons. Like, and it's free, by the way. And they are starting to incorporate more like paid DLC stuff, but like there's so much just free content. There's so much. So
I'm sorry, did you say free?
free.
FREE, that spells free.
So I would say World, but if you want like a good sense of like what old school Monster Hunter is, because there is a thing called like old school Monster Hunter, because so many mechanics were streamlined and changed for World, I would say play Generations Ultimate on the Switch if you want a feel for like what old school Monster Hunter is.
Okay.
Before it got super popular.
Yeah.
And then Rise and Sunbreak are great. Like what Sunbreak is, that's just the expansion onto the base game Rise. That's the most recent iteration, and that's a fantastic game. I love it. So I would say your best bet would be World, and then if you want a taste of the older stuff, Generations Ultimate, and then the most recent one would be Rise and Sunbreak, which I think has the best combat.
Okay.
Adam, you a Monster Hunter fan?
I've never played them. Again, kind of watching Blue. That's probably the most experience I've had with it, is when I've been watching Blue stream it. But yeah, I didn't know too much about it, but hearing all this makes it seem a little bit much more interesting in terms of like the lore behind it and the I don't want to say like the hype. Like you said, it's a hidden gem that is becoming more popular now, and I think it's definitely something cool that I would definitely play.
I think the main thing to keep in mind with Monster Hunter, it's definitely not a story-driven game at all. You do not play Monster Hunter for the story. And the other thing that I think, I watched a great review of Monster Hunter. I always like to look up people's like initial thoughts, reviews of games of Monster Hunter. And I saw a really good video that basically describes like, okay, you know the Sword and Shield in Zelda, right? Take that. Okay, you know Cloud's Greatsword, right? Take that. You know, what's a game that uses like a katana or longsword or something like that?
Sekiro.
So, yeah, but like, yeah, so take all these like different, you know, take Aloy's bow from what game is she from?
Kenna? Is it that game?
No,
is that wrong?
Where's she fighting robot dinosaur things?
Horizon
Zero Dawn. Yeah.
Horizon
Yeah,
Zero
so
Dawn.
you take all these weapons from like all these great franchises, and then you put them into one game, and now you can pick all these weapons, and each weapon has an in-depth system. That's what makes Monster Hunter great, is it's like you basically get to pick a play style that in many games you only get like 1 or 2 options really, but Monster Hunter is like 14 options right there, and they're all in-depth.
I do love me some bows.
Yeah, it's like, it's the combat system is so in depth, and I think that's one thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is like you can play this game in so many ways.
I'll have to try it.
All you had to do was say bow and arrow, and you have piqued Adam's interest. He is so ready.
Yeah, I'm
He is
honestly
so
like,
down
I'm gonna
for
put it in my.
this.
It's on Steam, right? It's a PC game
Yeah,
too.
so Monster Hunter World, the bow is actually, even in Rise 2, the bow is like one of the better weapons, and they've made it so much more fun in the newer games too. It's a great weapon.
I'm in.
I think you found your new game.
Yeah,
I think you found your new game, dude. Let's go.
New fan here. I'm gonna put it in my Steam library right after we get off here, or my wish list.
So, anyways, it's much more
Nice.
popular now, but like I just thought like it's a great. I just think it was a game that just was floating under the radar for the longest time, and I felt like I was talking to a wall for the longest time. Anytime I would get excited about it, because it's like no one fucking knows what this game is, and so it's just like I finally, when World released, I'm like, oh my god, people! I can talk to someone about this now.
Oh my god, people are sharing my interest.
It was really refreshing and really cool. So.
No, it definitely deserves to be on the gem list. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Are we still keeping the same order, or Adam, you want to go?
Oh, you can go. I'll keep the same order.
All right, we'll keep the same order. So I got a bunch of games on my list here, for gems, and we'll do some honorable mentions and stuff like that. And it might not be a hidden gem to everybody, but to me, it was a hidden gem, and still is a hidden gem, still very playable. And I'm talking about Heavy Rain, PS3 era. I love Heavy Rain.
I've heard you talk about it before.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. Obviously, everybody knows there's a little bit of clunkiness to it. And there's the scene at the end where you can make them spam out the funny scream, and like everybody knows all these glitches and stuff like that, and that's fine. That's okay. But it really, so you guys, this was PS3 era, right? And this game had no noise, no hype around it whatsoever. I literally just grabbed this game off the rack at GameStop, came home, and like started playing it, and I was just like blown away. And the basic premise of this game is it's a lot of QTEs, kind of story-based game, very story-based game, QTE with some character motion and stuff like that. You guys are probably much more familiar with its kind of newer version, which was Detroit Become Human, which that game did very, very well. And that the Heavy Rain is kind of like the first, like, kind of led the way for other games like that. And then also just going back onto, this was a PS3 release, and just looking at the graphics and like the character models and stuff, this was the first time where I was like, oh my god, the future of gaming is here. Like, I was just like so blown away by just these character models and the graphics and what they were able to do with the PS3 hardware itself. And I just absolutely love this game. It is available, I believe, on the PlayStation Store for like $7. So if you guys want to check out a really cool story-based game, check out Heavy Rain. It's awesome. It's QTE based. It's very heavily in depth in a story. Has a great storyline. You play as 4 different characters, much like Detroit. And I really feel paved the way for games like Until Dawn, and like that whole genre. So love me some Heavy Rain. It's a good game.
I love
I'll have to look into it. I've never heard of it either.
I love the cover art of because that's always what sticks in my mind is the cover art of that game, because I always remember seeing it.
Yeah,
it's the origami, like the little origami thing or whatever.
Yeah. The little origami. So you're basically in the game. One of the characters that you're playing as is Ethan, and his son ends up going missing. And then one of the other characters that you're playing as is like a detective that's trying to help him solve a story. So like the story of the game is actually really, really good, and it's really, really intriguing, and it keeps you very heavily invested. And you're flopping back and forth between these characters that are all entangled in this one story, and then kind of at the end it all comes together, and you're just like, I was just like mind blown. I was like, dude, this game is so crazy. So and you know me, man, like I say all the time, I love me some, I'm going to get in here and it's going to be nuts for an hour and a half, and I'm going to be sweating and throwing controllers. But I also like just like a very chill kind of game, and this was that chill game for me where I was just like, play a little Heavy Rain, just kind of kick back, like relax, half hour, get a little storyline in. I'm playing some QTEs, but like I'm basically controlling like a really great movie. Yeah. And I really love the game. Check it out if you guys haven't played it yet. Good stuff.
That's sick. Yeah.
Adam, what you got?
Alrighty. This is actually a game that Blue and I have played together. My friend played it a bunch, and this game being Deep Rock Galactic.
Oh yeah, no, that's a great one.
Oh dude,
yeah,
that game is such like you don't hear much about it, but essentially the game is you're a troll, and you have to go into these like
dwarf.
Not worlds, yeah, dwarf. Thanks. Yeah. You're a dwarf, and you have to go into these like areas, and you have to like fight a bunch of like bugs and complete different tasks and stuff like that.
It's a mine.
Yeah, mine. Yeah, yeah. Rock and Stone.
What was yeah, that's what is that what they were yelling all the time?
Rock and Stone.
I remember you guys playing that game. I'm like, what are they screaming all the time?
So essentially, this game, and it's a game that I think it's like $30. It's another game like how Blue with Monster Hunter Rise, tons of free content. Mm-hmm. They're always releasing content, new seasons. Some of it's not paid, or some of it is paid, but there's this content being filled into it, and I think that's another good game. I looked at my friend playing, I was like, man, I don't want to buy this, and he finally convinced me. I was like, wow, I'm glad I bought this. This is amazing. And just like the mechanics of the game, the music, everything about the game is so fun. Tons of little Easter eggs in it. It's a goofy first-person shooter, but there's so much to it that makes it super fun.
There's like a million voice lines too with that rock and stone line that you're dwarfs. So like there's one button that's just like the quick like rock and stone's like like rock, like if you don't rock and stone then you don't go home, like just like all this like different like just all these different ways they say it. Like it's so goofy. And then you
like who did the writing for this game? Jason Statham. Like, how many quirky one-liners?
It was so good. It's so good, but it's one of those games that you don't hear anybody playing. Yeah, it's such a good game, and so if you haven't checked that game out, definitely look into it. It sounds weird, and it really is weird, but it's a game that it's so fun, and there's just hordes of bugs you have to like extract. You have to do different like you're a mining dwarf, and you have to mine a bunch of stuff. Kill a bunch of bugs.
It's such a bizarre thing to say that like even the mining aspect, because like you have to get to like these crystals, and like maybe there'll be like these blue crystals you got to get to, right? But they're like up on this like wall like 200 feet in the air, and you're like, how do I get up there? So your dwarves have like different drills or abilities, and digging through dirt and mining rocks in that game is incredibly just like fun and satisfying.
Yeah, right.
It's
rock
like
and stone.
It's I don't know. It's a bizarre concept, but it works. It really works.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Imagine having that as like your real day job, though. It's like you have to mine like all this stuff, but every like 10 minutes you have to stop mining and protect yourself from this like swarm of bugs.
So the lore behind it, Zags, is fantastic. Apparently, like you are a dwarf that works for this like super greedy corporation. That for like that uses up natural fuels and natural resources, and they just do not care about you at all. They're like, oh, like you know, like you're taking too long, like you know, hurry up,
get the
like
task done. Yep. Yeah. That's so funny, but that's my hidden gem.
That's funny. No, that's a good one. Also, just real quick, I want to throw some shout outs here. I feel like the listeners will agree. I don't think we can have a hidden gem list of new. Like I said, I tried to keep it a little bit newer, and then I went back to PS3 era. But shout out Cuphead and Hollow Knight. But both of those games, absolutely amazing. Came out of nowhere. Blue actually was the one who was like, dude, have you played Hollow Knight? You should check it out. And I was like, no, I never played it. And yeah, I checked it out, and I was like, this game is absolutely amazing. And Cuphead, the same thing. It's just so fun. It's that old school 2D platforming with like mixed with like a shooter vibe, and just two great games that I feel deserve a little bit of a shout out for this list here.
I put another Marvel game in here. I know, so I don't know if it was super hyped. I had never really heard of it until I saw it released, and that's Guardians of the Galaxy. You guys ever played that?
I knew you were doing Guardians of the Galaxy.
But I'm not gonna lie, I was trying to search, see if there's anything I'd forgotten, and that actually popped up on a list of like games that you may have heard of but haven't played. Yeah,
and that was one. So I think it came not shortly after Avengers was released, but I think a lot of people were like, oh man, they screwed it up. Like, there's no way I'm playing Guardians of the Galaxy. The story, the game mechanics of this game, you can only play as Star-Lord, but the way they did it was you could interact with the rest of the Guardians, and it played very well. The storyline was cool. It was very long too. I think it was like 36 hours to complete.
Oh, wow.
And so it's a good game.
This game 100% just really got a bad rap following the Avengers. It really did.
Yeah.
It's
sure.
definitely deserving of being on the hidden gem list. The Avengers, everybody that played Avengers was like, I'm kind of done with Marvel games.
Yeah.
And then that just flew right
I
under
think
the
especially
radar.
when you're talking about just like movie IP games,
Yeah.
you know, that are, you know, games based around like movie concepts or just movies in general. I
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
there's already that
Yeah.
like negative attitude where it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. So that's cool. That's cool to hear
Yeah.
though, that did well.
Yeah. Definitely check that one out.
I also threw on like Hades as well for one of mine because I knew
Ooh,
that
I've
I've
been
never
told to play
played
that
it,
one.
but I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
it's huge. I know everyone loves it. I threw
Storm was
Yeah.
like addicted to Hades. He was playing that for like nonstop. It was crazy.
because I knew that kind of came out of nowhere. And then the other one that I had on mine was Dishonored, but that's mainly because of the development. It was super successful immediately, and it had the name, you know, with Bethesda, the notoriety on its release. But I like to put it on the hidden gems there because of like its development. It almost didn't happen. I don't know if you know anything about it, but
yeah, I did
yeah,
know that.
it's a game that almost like was like very close to not existing. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Definitely. Cool.
A game that was very close to not existing came out, did very well, and ended up getting a sequel.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
a great Cinderella
Yeah.
story.
Right?
Yeah. Cool. Man, what you got for us for your nailed it? Hyped games that came out and were exactly what you wanted.
Yeah, so I'm going to use this one as an example, and then I'll talk about this other one at the very end just as a quick note. But the main one that I'm picking for myself is Gears of War 1, the first Gears of War.
Let's go. Let's go.
Dude.
That is not what I was thinking you were doing.
When I saw that that trailer, dude, like, what an amazing... Do you guys know the trailer?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
bam.
remember
It's
it.
like, if you could just look it up too, the Gears of War trailer, that when it starts playing Mad World, that Mad World cover, I'm not sure who the cover's by, but it's just immediately puts you in. You see Marcus Phoenix like in this kind of destroyed city, and it's just a really interesting, unique aesthetic where it's like he's wearing this futuristic armor and this like broken down dystopian city, but it looks old too, which is really interesting aesthetic because all the buildings in Gears of War are actually like really old looking, even though it's like a futuristic sci-fi shooter. And he's running around and you're just hearing this soft music playing, and he like is running away from like something. You can't really tell what these soldier things he's running away from. And he pops in a building, and then these lights come down, and then it just like the room brightens up, and there's this giant spider monster called a Corpser in front of him. It's just like, oh, like I was like, Mom, I want an Xbox 360 right now, please. Like,
please let me have an Xbox.
yeah, at the
please.
time, like my friends, like I had a couple of friends that had Xbox 360s, and they were playing other games and stuff. I was like, oh, like Halo 3, blah, blah, blah. I really want to get an Xbox. But then when I was like just sitting at home, or I think I was at my grandma's house or something, and this ad popped up on TV, I don't know if there's any other moment in my life where I'm like a little kid too, where I'm just like, what is that? I want, like, I need that. Like, I need it. I want it. I want to know more. Like, it's just,
that's the first time that marketing touched
Yeah,
your soul, and you were gotten. I need to have
and it's
that.
just, it nailed it, dude. What a great game. Unfortunately, the franchise is like the most recent installments have just kind of been poopy butthole installments, unfortunately. But I think the first 3 games, and maybe even arguably the first 4 games, were really good. And you know, that first initial storyline of those first 3 games were fantastic. And a lot of people don't realize that game was purely only a story mode game. They slapped on multiplayer like I don't know, like a month or 2 before release. It's insane
really?
how last minute multiplayer was for Gears of War 1. They just slapped it on at the end. It was purely like a story-based shooter, and they were like, nah, let's add some multiplayer to it.
That's pretty cool. And it's good multiplayer too.
Yeah, Gears 3 I think nailed multiplayer the best. But yeah, it's just I think it's a great game. I think it gets a little bit overshadowed by like Halo and Call of Duty because they were also in their primes at the time. But I think Gears of War definitely holds its own when it comes to like those shooters, and especially because it did third-person shooters so well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely deserving of being on the list. Gears was huge in my circle of friends, and it's funny that you mentioned Gears because that's like for my kind of era, that was Gears like 2 and 3 was right around the time where like our friends, like my friends, you know, and I would like start having jobs, so we would actually have some money to like actually buy the games that we wanted and stuff like that. And like Gears 2, Gears 3 was like our first like, dude, are you getting the collector's edition? It's like our the first introduction into like the 12-inch statues and stuff like that. It's fun. I remember all that stuff. My buddy had the gear, like one of the Gears collector's editions. Yeah, dude, like put it up on a shelf and like that was that's cool. That's awesome. That brings back some memories.
It's a good game.
All right, my dudes, I hate to do it, and I'm feeling like you guys probably know where I'm going, but I gotta go Elden Ring with my pick. I gotta go Elden Ring with my pick.
That's so fair though, because I mean,
it's well deserved.
I have to do it, and okay, I will be the first to tell you that Elden Ring is not perfect. It is 100% not perfect. They nerfed a lot of things to bring in a larger audience into the Souls world. So I know traditional Souls players are always saying like, Elden Ring's easy, blah 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 blah. Whatever you want to say about Elden Ring, we did not get a drop from FromSoft for so long that just like the announcement of anything coming from that studio was just like mind blown. Like it's finally gonna happen. We're finally gonna get a new FromSoft game. Like I don't care if it's Bloodborne-esque or like Sekiro or like Dark, like I don't care what it is. I just want a game from FromSoft, and it like they marketed the crap out of it, and to me it checked all the boxes. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect, but was I so excited to just get another FromSoft game after so long of waiting, like so much time between Bloodborne and Elden Ring? Like, yes, I was just super, super excited. And I think they nailed it. Like, honestly, and I hate to be this guy because like, I'm sure everybody listening, if you've listened to the episodes, you know, I'm a Souls player, you know, I love this stuff. So like they could have put out a cardboard box of crap and I would have been like, I love this game, but like I really do think that they nailed it, so I gotta go with some Elden Ring on this. Love it.
I think that's like a very honestly objective take. It really is, because I mean, it had George R.R. Martin's name slapped to it too, which was huge after the success of Game of Thrones.
Huge.
So it's like all that hype too, like, you know, Dark Souls had already been so popularized too with Bloodborne, and it's just like that, like From Software was so like established at that point where it's just like, yeah, it's like this game's gonna be sick. And we also have George R.R. Martin helping out with like the story and lore and everything, and it's just like all this hype. The trailers were sick, the music was sick, and then all of a sudden the game comes out, and it's great. And yeah, you're right, not perfect, but then it's like, yeah, one game of the year. Like it's like, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yes, it is not perfect, but it had a lot of hype around it, and you know, much like you said, just like anything coming from that studio was like, it was at the point where people did not like, you literally needed to show people the trailer. Like, dude, did you hear FromSoft is finally coming out with a new game? And they'd be like, nah, like you are still like, you're full of it. That's not real. And it's like, dude, I promise you, it is actually happening. Like, here is the trailer, and then
this game,
and then you'd show the trailer, and they'd be like,
yeah,
oh my god, you're not full of shit. And I'm like, yeah, I gotta put Elden Ring on the list. Love it.
That's awesome. That's a good one.
Bam, what you got for us?
All right. I just feel like I'm kind of like a Marvel like junkie at this point.
Let's go.
Do you love some
I
Marvel?
do love Marvel. So my game that lived up to its hype and hopefully lives up to its hype releases in September. October 20th. Sorry, Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man from Insomniac Games.
Okay.
Oh, I thought everything about that game was. I loved everything about the first Spider-Man. I thought the story
I
was.
love me some Spider-Man.
Yeah, and
I
just
heard
like
great
it's one of those
about it.
things.
I never played it.
Yeah. It's one of those things that it's like it's open world. You're flying through. You're playing as Spider-Man. You can pick all the characters. The powers are cool. The story's good, and I just think just the even like continue on to Miles Morales too. Like they're continuing the story well. The gameplay is really well, and the biggest thing is so. Actually, in my flop games, I have the Amazing Spider-Man from the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, and I think they tried too hard with their mechanics. Whereas like this Spider-Man, they kept it simple. And it feels good. The graphics are good, and that's why I think I put it as my games that lived up to the hype, that exceeded all my
That makes me
expectations.
sad because Andrew Garfield is my favorite Spider-Man.
No, I love Andrew Garfield, but I'm saying the game version of that movie was god awful.
I know it was really
and I
really bad,
tried-
and I love Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
I thought he was a great Spider-Man. Like
He's too good. He's
we won't go
he's
into
too cool
that.
and good looking, dude. He's like, I mean, he's great, but
that's-
it's just like he's the cool, good looking Spider-Man. Yeah.
I tried so hard to love that game too. I was like, I love it. I love it. No, I don't. I hate it. I hate it. And it was hard because like I love the movie I watched the movie probably like 10 times. I've watched it in the theaters 4 times. And,
Damn.
Yeah, but
times.
the game just did not hold up to expectations. But the
That's
new
that's
ones,
impressive.
Yeah. Well, I also had back
Bam's
then.
over here pulling some Titanic stuff on the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
Well,
it's like fifth time
Well,
for me.
to be honest, though, the issue or this, you know how I have that $20 a month for unlimited movies.
Yeah.
Back in like my college town, they had a great deal, $10 a month, a movie a day.
What?
$10 a month.
Yeah, so
you could see a movie a day.
I went to Spider-Man 4 days in a row because I was already paid for it. So I was like, heck yeah,
sick. That's awesome.
yeah. So,
That's sick.
but yeah, that's my
Nice.
game that lived up to the hype. Another like one I have on here that I haven't played, but everybody loved too. Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah.
I have Hogwarts on my list
Yeah.
too.
And then my last
Yep.
one is Dying Light 2. Actually, I should probably put that more in the games that are more of a hidden gem. The story of it was really good, and the parkour was so much better than the first one. But those are my games that I have in the games that lived up to the hype.
I had Halo 2 for mine.
That's
That
a
was a
good
game
pick.
that just had insane hype and expectations for it, and a great marketing campaign. And it's amazing what the developers did, because when they first did their worldwide showcase for Halo 2, what they were showing was built on an engine that couldn't run on the Xbox. And it was just, and so like when they were done, I guess the developers all just got together and be like, dude, like we're screwed. Like, what are we going to do? Like, we just lied. We just lied to everyone. And, yeah, they did it though. I mean, it's the development story on it's just stuff that wouldn't happen today, with like developers sleeping at the office and studio, throughout the month, and just like doing just insane hardcore crunch work to get it done. And they nailed it. And the whole multiplayer system of that game is arguably better than a lot of the stuff today. So it's just like, that game was insane and revolutionary for what it did.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, very deserving of the list. I also had on my list GTA 5.
Yep.
Yep. Dude, that game was hyped like no other, as is every single GTA that comes out.
Just
But
imagine when
GTA
6
5 was
comes
hyped.
out.
Oh yeah, there's already words on 6 and stuff, but GTA 5 was hyped like no other. Came out, was absolutely amazing, everything that I wanted. So yeah, a little shout out to GTA 5. Yep. Nice. All right, my dudes. So with that being said, we're gonna talk about our very last game of the episode, and we're gonna decide whether it's gonna be a flop, a gem, or if they're gonna nail it. And that's Space Marine 2.
Yep.
Let's go, boys. I
pull up the
want
trailer.
to hear. Yeah, I want to hear you guys. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this.
Dude, it looks sick.
It does.
It looks so sick. Like,
Okay.
I can't hide it. It looks so cool. Look at that.
All right, guys. So if you guys are just listening on Spotify, we are getting a I don't even know how to describe what I'm looking at other than like gothic space.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's a great way to.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So it's
just oh my
That's
gosh.
like these
This
scenes.
game,
Oh, it's like, dude,
you're almost speechless when you see it.
it looks
And
so cool.
yeah.
Just like I feel
And
like
so-
I just feel like a
do
little
we even
kid.
say
Like
what game this is?
that looks so cool.
Space Marine 2, if we didn't say what game we're watching right now, or like trailer.
Yeah.
It's a Total War, or not Total War. It's
Warhammer
a Warhammer
40K or
game,
40,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
oh my gosh, it looks brutal. And the first one is very successful.
Yeah.
Space
so
Marine, super successful. I didn't play the first one,
I
but
didn't-
when I saw this trailer, I was like, why have I not played the first one?
same. So apparently the first the first Space Marine game is considered by many to be the best Warhammer 40K game like out there.
Yeah.
And it released back in 2011. And people just rave about it. I mean, like
Yeah.
9 out of 10s, 10 out of 10s. Like it's extremely like highly touted, and so
Right.
because of that, and taking that and with what I was just looking at on the screen, I'm so excited because
Yeah. Sold.
it looks sick. It looks sick.
Yeah, so if you guys,
Yeah.
again, were just listening on the Spotify, what we were looking at is kind of like, like what we said, Gothic space. It's a very interesting spacey galaxy setting with a lot of resemblance of like very old school Gothic kind of structures. And what we saw was just like, I don't even know if I can do this justice.
Pure
It was
chaos.
just nonstop pure chaos, and it was like one man versus hordes of enemies. I'm talking like swarms of enemies. The amount of enemies on the screen at one time was just crazy to me. That's one of my
And
biggest
it
takes.
looks good.
Yes, and it looks good.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, just
the swarm,
blood splattering.
Like there's I think one shot where like you're kind of like, I don't know, you're up at the top of a bunch of stairs or something, like top of like a plateau building, and you see
Yeah.
the swarm. It looks the scaling of it, I think, is what especially like I can't even do a complete sentence right now. Like the scaling, I think what they're doing really well is the scaling in it, and from the third person perspective, whatever they're doing with the camera is working really well, because there's shots of the space where you're seeing the ships go by and it looks massive. It looks like there's so much like stuff going on. It looks big. Same thing with when you're looking down at that horde, and they're called Tyranids.
Yep.
It's like that's the name of the alien species in Warhammer that I think you're primarily going to be fighting in that game. The Tyranids swarm. It just looks so good.
Yeah.
It just looks like, whoa, dude, this is like a wave coming at me. It looks so cool.
That's exactly what I was kind of thinking, is like the swarm almost looks like one and this is how I feel like you can tell that they've done whatever they need to do to make sure that this game can handle all of what's happening. The swarm almost looks like one kind of entity, like moving in like unison, and then you can see like as it's getting closer to you, you can see like the singles like starting to break off of that swarm. And I think from like a graphical standpoint, for somebody that I'm really into like the visualization of stuff, I think that's like a telltale sign that they have designed this game to be able to handle these gigantic swarms of enemies that they have on the screen like really, really, really well.
Yeah, I totally agree. And just the mechanics of the game look amazing too. Just how brutal it is. Like, and it's kind of like you said, Dave. You're a one-man army. Well, a three-man army, because this one's co-op. The first one was not co-op, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, you're a three-man army just taking on this swarm of a bunch of enemies, and just the way you do it is just so brutal and so like almost like godlike.
Those killing animations look so dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that, so, like I said, I'm traditionally not a shooter guy. I think this game draws me in though, because just the sheer size of everything, like we've already been talking about, but it's also a shooter. I wouldn't classify it as like a typical shooter. It's a shooter that's also focused a lot on like up close melee. right? So
Like a hack and slash. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
it does have hack and slash vibes. Like what
100%. There's a scene where the dude's literally like sticking his like machete sword thing into one of the aliens.
Right.
Like,
yeah. So like gameplay wise and stuff like that, it's like, you know, I'm not really a tactical kind of shooter guy, right? Like I'm not a big let's take cover. I don't want to, you know, I'm not like a sniper from like I'm up in there. I'm a hack and slash guy, you know what I mean? And that there is no taking cover in this game. This is 100% just like balls to the wall. You see these clips of the guy and he's like he's shooting at these hordes of enemies, right? But he's shooting at these hordes of enemies like running into the center of the swarm, and as soon as he gets there, like the gun goes down and like the melee weapon comes out and you're like like just absolute insanity. So yeah, I'm actually super excited for this, which initially I saw it as a shooter title and I was like, another shooter, like probably not something I'm going to be interested in. And then the more and more that you kind of go along this path, I'm like, damn it, I'm into this game now. like I'm ready. This is going to be my test into the shooter market.
There it is.
I think, I normally when I see a very pretty, because I think it's a very pretty looking trailer, like it looks beautiful. Yeah. I really enjoyed looking at everything in it. Like even your soldier design, like even the way, like the camera view of like seeing the shoulder. It's like Gears of War did that really well, but like this is like taking that up like 10 levels. It just looks good. Right. And normally I'd be really nervous for games like this, but after looking at just what people have to say about the first game, that is kind of what's kind of nailed me to lean towards like I think this is gonna nail it, because if they've done it before, they know what they're doing, and they're just doing it with better technology now.
Yeah. And they're not going to stray too far away from the original game. What I've kind of read is the original game did not get as much love right up front as it should have. It's kind of along the way, it's kind of been, picked up speed. The original gameplay is only like 6 hours long, so obviously it's a little bit of a shorter story. They're not going to take that, this is going to be a full release, so you're going to get a lot of hours of gameplay, a lot of storyline, and also a 6v6 multiplayer, which I'm sure people are pretty excited about. Yeah.
I think that's cool. Yeah. I feel like the multiplayer is definitely going to be more of like a secondary kind of like you want to try this game out for like that co-op, the story, whatever that story single co-op player mode will be.
Yeah,
I think that's where the game will shine, but like multiplayer would be sick too.
Yeah, so. I think much like a Returnal or something like that, like the love of doing like a co-op. I think the co-op would be really fun. But yeah, once you crush the storyline in co-op, at least you got some multiplayer for some replay value. So yeah, super excited about this game. Adam, you excited for it?
Oh yeah, this is a get in your game.
This is
no pass
this
here.
This is right up your alley. So
yeah, it's just like Blue said, it's beautiful to see, and just the scale of it, like how everything looks. It's almost like hard to put it into words on how cool it looks.
Yeah, it does. I think for anyone that doesn't have an interest, or like, because I think I've shown it to a couple people since looking at it, and for the most part, I'm actually getting pretty like average like reactions. Like, yeah, it looks cool. I think it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, like just wait. Like I think once you have this right in front of you on your screen, especially if you're using like if you have a decent monitor or TV that you play games on, when you get to see this. I have a feeling that's going to be like, okay, this looks good. Like this looks really good.
Yeah.
And who can
I agree with you there.
Who can complain about just mowing hundreds of enemies, just spraying into a field of just nonsense and just utter chaos
with your friends.
Yeah, with your friends.
With your friends.
And I mean, just like also it's along with like that what we've seen like with the enemy hordes and stuff. The backdrops and the area, it's like the environments, it just feels epic. It just looks so epic, and you're gonna feel like a badass, I'm sure, while you're playing that.
Yep. This one's gonna be sweet. I think this one, I don't know if it's gonna be a nailed it. I think it's gonna be a hidden gem. Unfortunately, I don't think it's gonna get a ton of love like Blue said off release.
Right.
But I do think it's gonna be one of those games where down the road you get it in front of you. you know, maybe it ends up going on sale or, you know, something like that, and people start picking it up for a reduced price, and then it gains kind of like the following that it deserves. So if you guys have not checked out Space Marine 2, and you're into you know, shooter titles and stuff like that, check it out. It does come very highly praised, so we shall see.
Yeah, definitely. We shall
But my
see.
dudes, that was a good episode.
Yeah.
Blue,
that was
you got
awesome.
anything else for him?
That's awesome.
Nah, I mean, that was just fun. That was fun to talk about. Just as far as like, I think it's interesting when you look at all these games, you know, kind of that whole spectrum of like just doggy doo-doo to like to what we think are masterpieces. But I think what's also interesting too is I'm sure not everyone's going to agree with our masterpieces necessarily, or maybe they will. I don't know. I feel like our choices are pretty clear. But I think what's interesting about what makes a game good is still it's like, I mean, like if it was so clear cut as to what makes a game good, developers would be, you know, popping out great games.
Yep.
It's not. And I think I was watching a really good video recently where they kind of talk about this whole idea of like, you know, you can have one game that has great writing, maybe great visuals, maybe great mechanics, but all around the game's really lackluster.
Yeah.
And you have those exact same qualities in another game that is just superb and amazing. And they were basically used this term or this idea that a good game or a masterpiece is when the final product is greater than the sum of its parts. So
I love that.
like we mentioned, like you had mentioned, Elden Ring isn't perfect, right? It's not.
No.
There's a lot of balance issues. There's nitpicky things here and there where like things don't go great. Maybe the game doesn't have great like voice acting, or like maybe there's bugs here and there, but it's like it's when a game can, like, despite those issues, succeed, and when it plugs everything else that it does well together, they work well, immensely better together.
Right.
Is the thing, and that's what makes them greater than the sum of its parts. It's like if you were to look at a painting, right? So comparing a bad game to a good game that has like both of those, like good writing, good graphics and things, but one game's good, one game's bad. That's like saying like, yeah, it's a good painting, you know, for a blind man.
Yeah.
Or looking at, dude, look at this blind guy painting this masterpiece, you know, like that's like the difference right there.
Yeah.
So I think it's just interesting kind of like looking at these games, because I think there's aspects to some of the flops and even hidden gems that and masterpieces that there's things that they share, but it's final execution. And I don't know. It's fun to talk about. I love nerding out on all this stuff.
That's an amazing analogy, and you know, just also
Definitely.
just kind of, you know, it's so opinionated. You know what I mean? It's, you know, I can look at a game and think it's amazing. You can look at the same game and think it's crap. I mean, you know, but together we are a culture of gaming that can, for the most part, can appreciate just aspects of certain games. And, you know, maybe it's not your favorite game, but just as a community as a whole, there is an appreciation for the games themselves. And I love that the most, is that kind of like gaming camaraderie. I love you guys. I love this community. I love nerding out.
But if you do disagree with us, you're wrong. So just keep that in mind.
Right.
So.
And kind of going off that is like, so Dave, he loves the Soulsborne. Like, he loves Souls, he loves Bloodborne. And that's a game like I don't think I will have fun with it. And that's not to say like they're bad games. It's just those aren't games for me, and I will never see like, wow, I'm going to play this game. But like I understand the love behind the game and the challenge and just everything with the game. Like I understand and I respect everything about the game. It's just like you said, we all have our opinions of what games are good. Like I like the shooters, and that's kind of what's really cool about gaming in the community is like you have that avenue of whatever you want, it's out there.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think it's great. I think gaming as a whole is just kind of a very welcoming community. And, you know, obviously we talk a lot of shit about some stuff, and, you know, like, it's not good. But at the end of the day, we're super happy that these games exist and they're out there for us, and the appreciation. The appreciation goes
We all
along.
like looking at screens.
We all like looking at screens.
Looking at screens with the moving, colorful pixels. So
exactly.
I feel lost if I don't have a screen yelling in my face. So thank you for that. But my dudes, I love you guys very, very much. Thank you. This was an amazing episode. I just real quick want to, of course, shout out Blue, dude. Thank you for coming on, man. I really appreciate you, dude. This was
definitely
absolutely fucking amazing. I'm sure you guys, as long as he's willing, you guys will be seeing some more of Blue. And yeah, dude.
I'd love to be back. This was a lot of fun. I'd love to talk about movies at some point too.
Definitely. We talk about those as well.
Yeah.
That's a big thing that we talk about. And I don't know if Blue wants me to do this, but he is TheBlooMagoo on most of his social media. So if you want to give him a follow over there, go ahead and do so. And Blue, if you have anything else you want to say or where they can find you, feel free.
Yeah, I have a Twitch. We're currently on a hiatus. Maybe I'll be back. We'll see. And then I might have some future plugins later down the road for a future episode if I get another project rolling. So we'll see. Might involve a little YouTube. Who knows? But
Blue's leaving him on a cliffhanger.
Big things coming.
Blue's leaving him on a cliffhanger.
Right.
I love that. I love that.
We're gonna get messages saying, "Hey, bring that Blue guy back. We gotta know what's going on." But
I had a blast.
Super appreciate you being here. Yeah, it was super fun.
Thank you so much for having me. That was a lot of fun.
Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you. Really was amazing. Real quick, my dudes, I want to shout out a super quick thank you. We did reach 180 subscribers on the YouTube channel so far. Just growing like crazy. You guys are fucking amazing. Thank you for helping the channel grow as much as you guys have been. Sharing with your friends, hitting that sub, hitting that like. It really is amazing to watch the channel grow, and I super appreciate you guys. I know Adam does as well, and just thank you guys so much. Really, really appreciate you guys. Love you guys very, very much. And Adam, what you got?
If you're not following us on all social medias, please do so. Let's Talk Nerdy Podcast, and
And if you are watching on the YouTube and you haven't hit that like and subscribe, please do that, as it really does help the channel grow. We love you guys very, very much, and we will see y'all on the next one.
Peace out, nerds.